This is going to be fun for you guys to edit.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You can just cut all of this out. It's fine. They don't need to know that they can nominate us to be admirals of Nebraska.
I was going to say, would I be able to wear does it come with a dress uniform? Because I already kind of have one. And can I indicate it somewhere on my, ribbons or medals or something?
It has no duties, no pay, no compensation, and no powers. You can't really you get a certificate, I think. But to be honest, there's nothing stopping you from making up your own Nebraska Admiral uniform. And all you have to have done to deserve it is the governor has to agree that you've contributed in some way to the state of Nebraska. And really, what's more of a contribution than entertaining its citizens with podcasts?
We get Roz, we got to start the Pennsylvania Naval Militia back up again.
Yeah, we could probably do that. I mean, Pennsylvania has some navigable rivers. This is my argument. This Nebraska has the Missouri River, and Russia has a river navy. Why can't Nebraska?
The littoral fleet of Nebraska.
Well, Rhode Island apparently has commodores, again by analogy with Kentucky colonels, and there's no information about that. I think you have to be in the mob to get in, same as everything else in Rhode Island. But Rhode Island has a coastline,
Indeed, it does. It's quite a
the Rhode Island Navy sounds like some Gilbert and Sullivan shit. I'm sorry.
The lifetime Rhode Island Commodore is H.P. Lovecraft, and you don't want to know what the ship's name is.
There's a patter song about Pawtucket.
I'm looking through the list of Rhode Island Commodores here. The only one that you'll have heard of is Ted Turner. Everyone else is a Rhode Island celebrity.
It certainly won't be Kurt Schilling, famous for nearly bankrupting Rhode Island.
Yeah, he actually got
Kingdoms of Amalur.
He got an other than honorable discharge.
They broke his sword in the game, I guess, and stripped off the numbers off his jersey.
All right. Well, if the technical difficulties are over,
knock on wood,
we have a podcast. We're doing a podcast. Hello and welcome to Well, There's Your Problem. It's a podcast about engineering disasters with slides. I'm Justin Rosniak. I'm the person who's talking right now. My pronouns are he and him. All right, go.
I am Alice Caldwell Kelly. I'm the person who's talking now. My pronouns are she and her. Yay, Liam?
Yeah, I'm Liam Anderson. Liam, I'm out west now. I was fleeing the Pinkertons. So I'm Liam Ass-Chaps Anderson. My pronouns are good morning and feller. Believe it or not, that's not Liam. My name's Tom Payne from 10,000 Losses. My pronouns are he, him.
We get you back on when we want to talk about a ship that's gone wrong.
Yes, and also Liam's on vacation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like Liam 2 on the depth chart.
Yeah.
Liam 2, Liam Harder.
I can't go as hard as he can.
Yeah. So what we have on the screen here is a boat,
allegedly,
which fell over.
It's oriented in the wrong fucking plane here,
Yes, it does not have excellent transverse stability.
I was about to say it's not supposed to be like that. Today we're going to talk about the MS Herald of Free Enterprise.
Fucking hate that name.
But first,
symbolic.
Yes, it's Thatcherism right there.
The first neoliberal ferry.
Yes,
had a globe emoji on the back.
But first, we have to do the goddamn news.
Listen. So I'm moving to the United States now. I have to, because Britain is a failed state with a failed economy because of this woman, our Prime Minister Liz Truss.
I've been telling you this for a while. Come to America. It's so good. We have freedom.
Yeah. You do. In everything except the healthcare. And also a lot of other things. But
but you're about to lose the healthcare too. Let's get real.
That's true.
But guns. And that is pretty...
Oh, that's a good point. That's a really...
I mean, we can go shooting. I mean,
actually, this leads me to a question about Americans, which is, I see your YouTubes, all of these things. I know your people somewhat, and You do activities like you have free healthcare when you know you don't.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't really understand that, but here in Britain we do just about have free healthcare. It just doesn't work. And the government has been like, we have a new Conservative Party leader and thus a new Prime Minister who is determined to day one kill the Queen, which mission accomplished.
Excellent.
Yes. Very good.
Day two, collapse the economy and the pound, which
funny.
Also done. So I don't know what you call an act like that or what the next thing is, but I'm very excited because right now, a pound is worth about $1, and it might get worse.
That's very much a sort of a James K. Polk vibe there. You know, you go in, fulfill every campaign promise, then leave.
Yeah.
I'm
like
just looking
Cincinnatus.
Well, Boris Johnson compared himself to Cincinnatus in his leaving speech. So
it was the one thing holding Britain together.
He's returned to. Is he the cabbage farmer or is that the other guy?
It's the other guy. He's returned to his plow, and by plow I mean not finishing a book about Shakespeare. So everything's going to get really bad here. The cost of living is getting higher. The cost of everything else is getting higher, and now you have to pay for it in joke money that isn't real.
So when I do come to the UK next summer, and I can just drive around, just flinging greenbacks.
Yeah. You're going to be like a sort of GI in 1946 Berlin.
Oh, excellent.
That's sort of what the vibe's going to be.
I'm on Marshall Plan, the Pain Plan.
Yeah. So please continue to subscribe to the Patreon so that I have a job that is paid in dollars, giving me catastrophic purchasing power in my failed state.
In other news,
Hurricane Ian. It's kind of an anticlimactic name for what was like in the top 5 strongest hurricanes to ever hit the US, I think.
It was a real big one, and it didn't hit in as bad of a place as it could have, but it hit in a pretty bad place.
Yeah, I mean, it could have hit a state that's valuable and somewhere along the East Coast. But yeah, no, they got fucked pretty hard. I don't think Tampa and Fort Myers exist anymore, so I don't know where spring training is going to be. That's my primary concern next year.
I think Tampa once again dodged the bullet. Fort Myers, though, holy shit.
Yeah, Fort Myers fucking destroyed.
Naples, towns like this.
I mean, that's what you get for naming your something after Italy.
So my understanding is that this just whipped in from what would ordinarily be the leeward side, the west coast of Florida, and just went sort of like left to right, devastated the whole swath of the state, then came up into what, like fucking Kentucky or some shit like that?
It's
South Carolina.
It whacked right into Charleston as a Category 1.
Ooh.
But they've gotten those before. So that's not currently it's pouring down rain here. So we have all experienced this.
It's pretty dry here. I think the low is over Kentucky at this point. But it's supposed to move offshore. Maybe they'll re-strengthen and destroy Ireland and the UK if you're lucky.
That's what we need.
That's how you can avoid some hyperinflation.
That's
by dying.
Yeah, and we've got to see
scarcity through like through the Black Death method.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, so we have seen some fun videos come out of this, like the extremely Florida guy who went out in the massive hurricane to wave a "Let's Go Brandon" flag.
Yes.
And managed not to get hit in the head. The Weather Channel reporter who went out in the hurricane and did get hit in the head. And then this guy who was just doing bong rips.
The first storm to take out Jim Cantori.
You know what? I really appreciate the storm for that.
And another question, a second question to Americans, why to explain the concept of a storm to you, do you make a guy go out in it as a kind of like ritual sacrifice for TV?
I think he just likes doing it.
Yeah.
Well, they like can't stop him. They're like trying to hold him back.
They're trying to hold Jim Cantori back.
It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Like, I guess he's a masochist. Maybe him and Liz Truss could hook up.
For sure. Yeah, big hurricane-shaped ring on the day collar. Yeah,
they could have their own fucking fetish party. There's a guy with a kilt there. I think it's security. All that kind of stuff. Shit. Yeah, fucking. But yeah, that shit's wild. That how quick this just like rolled through, and it's, yeah. So sorry for the actual good people in Florida.
Very nearly like smacked one of those NOAA planes just like out of the sky. There's a video from one of the like guys on board where just like they lose like 700 feet of altitude like in a second because it just like comes down and like slaps the plane over the top of the wings. You know?
Hell yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I'm a psychopath like that, so I would
because they're all like the kind of combination of like psychopath and nerd that you get for like jobs like that, where they're in their little like NOAA jumpsuits, getting like thrown around. There's lightning outside the window, and they're all like, "Wow, that's crazy!
Like, holy shit, this is fucking cool, man! I'm gonna die in a blaze of glory. Like, fuck it."
But not even that animated, you know. There's like, "Wow, this is crazy! Wow!" You know, like they don't have like a second thing to say. Incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. Shouts out to cool ass NOAA nerds.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
One of the few good government agencies.
I was about to say. Not if AccuWeather has anything to say about it, though.
part of the like fad of giving government agencies pseudo naval uniforms that I think we should bring back. You know?
Oh, well, I got to tell you something about NOAA is that they wear the Coast Guard operational, the ODU. They wear the and they complained because it was embroidered with the Coast Guard like seal on the one side, like into it, very low key embroidered in the fabric, and they're like, we're not Coast Guard. Can you get this taken off? So they removed it, causing supply chain issues for NOAA and Public Health Service.
Fantastic. I love this though. I think more federal bureaucracies should just have a kind of naval-ish or Coast Guard-ish uniform.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Teachers should have it. I should have dress blues commensurate with like how many years of service.
That'd be a good idea. I like that.
You don't get any like change in. You don't get a formal uniform, but you just get decoration, so you can sew like a service stripe onto a tweed jacket. You know.
I get battle stars that I paint on the side of my classroom.
Yeah, you're trying to teach the alphabet, but it's just like E, 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 E.
Yeah, let's recall our big E over here. That's the only letter we recognize in this classroom.
In other news?
In other news, we have a third news.
There's something very sinister about a picture of a darkened Wawa.
I was about to say, so there was like a big robbery at a Wawa in, what was it, Mayfair?
Yeah, up in like Northeast Philly.
Yeah, and
Tacony
so
or something like that.
They've completely changed how Wawa operates in the city now. It's appalling. So I was mad about this because I was coming home from my friend's house, pretty drunk last night, and I was like, I'm going to stop in at Wawa and get a hoagie, right? Mm-hmm. And you know what?
One does.
You know what they've done at the 38th Street Wawa? They have fucking bouncers. They have bouncers in the Wawa, and they're metering people coming in. Like you can't just walk in anymore. You got to stand in a line in front of the Wawa, and I'm like, okay, we have completely ceded control of the city to 20 teenagers who decided to rob a Northeast Philly Wawa.
The terrorists have won.
The terrorists won. They've shut down Wawa, late night Wawa.
Yeah.
It's so great. Waiting in line.
Yeah.
Wawa operates a security response the same as airports do, where they're one thing happens, that's it. It's ruined for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you walk into the Wawa, it's like, I mean, you have to have a certain BAC, I guess, to get in at a certain point, so surprised you would have been allowed in.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any sort of posts about how the Wawa food ain't no good anymore? And if you do, you can't be allowed, to be denied entry. Oh, you're anti-Wawa agitators. We can't let you in here. He was saying the bread ain't good anymore. So that's fucked up, man, because we bake that on premises.
Getting deported from the Wawa, yeah.
Fuck this shit. What are you gonna do? Go 7-Eleven? Nah, you ain't gonna fucking do that, ain't you? Nah, delete that tweet, motherfucker. Dickhead. Go Bird.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna go to Sheetz?
Hey.
There's no Sheetz within 8 miles from here.
Them shit's out on the fucking turnpike, dude. You got an Easy Pass? Let me see it. Oh, it's my Easy Pass now, bitch. Fuck
off. Okay, so we've killed Justin.
Yeah. Fucking going out to Sheetz like fucking. What are you fucking from Pittsburgh or something?
All right. So yeah, they've ruined our late night hoagie.
Stupid.
All right,
paradigm.
Just as gobbler season's coming around, and those who don't know what a gobbler, Alice, do you know what a gobbler is?
No.
It's a wonderful sandwich that is.
Let's look into this very strongly right here.
Yeah, it is a sandwich made with sliced turkey and gravy, cheese of your choice.
That looks really good, actually.
Cranberry sauce and your either mashed potato or stuffing.
No, that genuinely looks really good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's good. Yeah, if you got diarrhea, it's really good at stopping it too. Plug that shit right up.
But yeah,
I'm gonna eat like one of these a week then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're like 1,700 calories for one.
But like, yeah, I am very frustrated because I could have had a hoagie, but I was too intimidated by the situation to even figure out what was going on.
Yeah, you were denied your hoagie.
Exactly. And I was like, I am just going to walk home. And I walked the full mile to get there too, and then I had to walk a mile back.
This is a travesty.
Securitizing public spaces like this, it has unseen costs.
Yeah, this is what happened.
Pinkerton strike again. That's why Liam's out west.
Out west, trying to escape a charge of like assault with a deadly weapon on a Wawa bouncer.
Just asking locals, you got a hoagie around here, partner? What the fuck are you talking about? Do you mean a submarine sandwich? Yeah. I don't know what a hoagie is. Are you from New York?
Dutch, I ain't too sure about this Wawa plan. Arthur, ain't I raised you as my own son?
Orfer, gotta go get some hoagies. I can't do Dutch that well.
Yeah,
no.
Oh no, Dutch.
All right. Let's do an episode.
That's it. 20 minutes of bullshit already.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So, all right.
That's
so
the map.
Yeah. There's this thing called
geography
Britain.
class.
Yeah.
So sometimes in life you have to get across the channel. You wanna get away from England, or more plausibly, depressingly, sometimes you have to go to England.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different ways you can go to England. There's a bunch of different ports. However, the most popular route. Huh?
Hook of Holland? What the fuck?
Oh yeah, there's like one port in the Netherlands that literally the first two letters are in capitals, like Emuiden or something. Ridiculous. They gotta do something. They gotta crack down on this very strongly.
How the fuck is Dutch like the closest language to English? And it's like I look at it, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Why are you
it's bad German is what it is.
Yeah.
But so yeah, the biggest port on each side is Dover and Calais. And so that's the most popular route for ferries. It's a huge amount of cargo and passengers, like trucks and stuff, go through here every year. They also, I have seen this route, Dover to Calais, called the Blue Ribbon route, which is cultural appropriation.
It is.
I was about to say, yeah, that's
the United States, the one and only remaining holder of it.
Yep, that's true.
I thought there was like one of those catamaran ferries that holds it, but only for going one way.
I thought you had to go both ways for it.
No, you do have to go both ways for it, but I believe they're
like half a blue ribbon.
Yeah.
It's a 50-degree transparency ribbon.
Yeah, it's like a Mobius strip, so it only has one side.
Yeah. Also, one other thing I should say about this: this is a bigger deal logistically before the opening of the Channel Tunnel, and also like there's less like air freight as you go back earlier. So like moving shit into England, you gotta go by boats, and that means there's a lot of ferry traffic.
There's also not that much air freight in general, just because airplanes are
heavy. You can't do the like transport feeder thing of loading a bunch of crude oil onto a plane.
Yeah.
I love to have my crude oil airport terminal mere 500 meters from my downtown.
I own a fleet of 7,000 Antonov AN-225s, which I use to move like gravel.
Maybe we should do this. Bring me the aggregate plane. I think it can be done.
Hey, go find the Shake Hands with Danger map, Transport Fever 2, the official map of this podcast.
Yes.
And go give it an upvote. It's dropped down in the rankings because no one's playing it anymore. Also, because no one plays that game anymore.
Shame.
The big issue with that game, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going for it, but they did forget to add the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It's great.
Yeah, go ahead.
Really great if you like watching the trains go back and forth, but after that, it does kind of get boring.
There's like no sense. There's like no sense. Like dude, this is game criticism. Like no sense of place. Like no sense of like locality.
Yeah. That's my biggest problem, especially because like the default stuff, unless you mod it pretty heavily, like it's all like vehicles from fucking wherever.
Yeah.
I'm not stuck with like some British Leyland fucking truck because I'm in the accursed Isles.
I thought the locomotive progression in the American set is like very strange. You get two Atlantics, but you don't get a Pacific. Like, what the hell is going on there?
There's no tender on the earliest one. That's annoying.
Yeah, what they really need to do is they need to combine. If you had the graphics and sort of physical gameplay of Transport Fever 2, but you combine that with like the sort of the more management style you got in Railroad Tycoon 2, I think you'd have a winner of a game right there. But
100%.
Definitely.
But anyway, yes.
So we're going to how do you say it's not Calais? How do you say it?
Calais. I mean,
Calais. Go into Calais.
Calais. Oh my god.
Praxis.
Callous.
Man. Callous of his andem,
yeah. So all right. So there's there were a couple companies. Well, for a while there were not a couple companies doing these different ferry routes, but one that showed up pretty early on was Townsend Thorensen, right?
Sounds suspiciously Norwegian.
Yeah, there's some Norse involvement here.
I'm not trusting this.
I believe it was a merger of Townsend Ferries and Thorensen Ferries, which I believe Thorensen Ferries was it was one of the Low Countries, I want to say. I'm not sure. Here are a couple of their ships. You got the Free Enterprise 2. You've got the Pride of Free Enterprise. You've got the Free Enterprise 5.
I'm detecting some ideology here.
Yes, the little NCC 1701A Enterprise, the 170. But the C is the coolest one in the episode Yesterday's Enterprise. That's like the sickest looking one. But
I've just been watching the Lower Decks lately. Surprisingly good for something in that animation style. It's not bad.
So you got to ask the question though: why are all these ships called Free Enterprise?
Ideology. It's ideology.
It's straight up ideology. Yeah.
They all read Ayn Rand, and the John Galt speech really got him going.
Yeah, this is not practical to do with trains, but maybe we can do it with ferries.
Maybe we can do it with ferries. Maybe we can have private ownership. And these were some of the first ferries in private ownership, because before then they had British Rail Sea Link.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love a sort of like extended British Rail universe branding exercise.
Oh, I want Diesel Railcar Simulator to like include like a diesel Sea Link simulator.
Yeah.
The same controls as like a Class 101, but it's a boat.
Having to change gears with a little knob, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's ready to change when the fucking the windscreen starts rattling.
Well, I mean, you got to think at the same time these things were operating, you also still had Canadian national liners.
So this had at the same time as this, you had British Rail branded sort of hovercraft. Parcels. They had Red Star Parcels, which is the most communist bit of British Rail. For a while they had national. God, I can't even remember what it was called, but like the land transport bit that was nationalized too.
Did British Rail ever launch a satellite? That would have been sick as shit.
No, but the post office did once design a UFO.
Technically, British Rail owned the patent for the UFO. Did it? Yes.
Oh shit. All right, mod that shit.
Dev, if you can just edit in a sort of like slowly spinning schematic of the British Rail UFO, that would be very helpful. Also, by the way, brief announcement, our editor Devon, since this came up in the comments last time, Devon's pronouns are they and them. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I made that mistake once on 10,000 Losses when we had this fake beef because he had blocked. I think he still has 10,000 Losses blocked.
Got you. Again.
Yep. There.
Misgendering.
Misgendering. Fuck me. They. I'm a horrible human being. Punch me in the face. You know what, Devin? When I come over to the UK, you get a free hit. Just straight right in the fucking jaw. I'm an asshole. I'm sorry. God damn it. Listen, I'm a dumbass. My heart's in the right place. Fuck. God damn it. Why? I want a language. You know what? I want a language that I don't use any fucking pronouns, dude. What are you fucking talking about? I don't got some program. I don't want pronouns anymore.
You're totally like non-gendered language.
I'm just going to decline. I'm just going to decline a noun for now on. You
know, doing a sort of weird Esperanto type shit.
Well, everything's male in Esperanto too. That's the fucking problem. Sorry, Devin. I really am. Truly. All right, I guess block 10,000 Losses again.
So C-Link.
Yes.
C-Link, yes. I didn't write this slide. Someone else has to go.
I put some stuff in there. I don't fucking know that much about it. I said once. So Britain was following the Marxism, of the Labour Party post-war.
Yes,
we did,
and they attempted to achieve commanding heights of the economy, which we critically support. And then liberals got mad. So C-Link was British.
Because the thing is, right, if you try and like control a major like logistical route into your country, then by the state, like with the state itself, then that's inefficient. Whereas if you just give it to some guy, that's more efficient.
Exactly,
that's much more efficient. Yeah. So of course, efficiency is always measured in terms of something and something else. In our case, that means some guy makes a lot of money.
Yeah,
and that's what efficiency is.
And that money is not reinvested into operations at all.
No,
ever.
They wanted to privatize C-Link for a long time. They finally managed to do it in 1984. But yeah, so but weirdly that excluded the hovercraft. They kept on for a bit. But so until then, C-Link had to compete, or was forced to compete, because like you were saying about Canadian Pacific or Canadian National liners, right? Like ferries across the channel were originally a railway thing. You had a boat train, and then the guy who owns the train goes, "Wait a second, why the fuck don't I own the boat as well?"
Yes.
And then those railways got nationalized, and British Railways like handed all of these ferries essentially. That's how C-Link comes into being. And this is like a perennial thorn in the side of Thatcherites and other people who hate the government doing stuff, because that's socialism. And so thus you get Townsend Thorenson and so on and so on.
Yes.
So I saw in a couple comments, I had scoured the webs for such websites as like Kent Online.
Nice.
And so so I found a bunch of like just comments on the disaster, because it was like when the anniversary came up, I guess back a couple of years ago, and people were saying how C-Link was by then C-Link was nicer but more expensive, and Townsend Thorenson crammed you in there like sardines, but it was faster and cheaper.
Sort of your British Airways versus EasyJet or Ryanair kind of vibe, I suppose.
The sort of race to the bottom that's happened with all forms of transportation now. I mean, so if you look at I mean, air travel could be a lot nicer than it is. But we
doing the trad thing of why don't people wear suits to go on the plane anymore?
Oh no, because it fucking sucks. You get your ass. I get fucking swamp ass in goddamn gym shorts on the fucking plane. The first time I went to Italy, the air conditioning stopped working in the back of the plane. Like so me, who's I'm a larger guy, and then Italians in the heat with no, you can imagine the fucking garlic that was coming off.
Why don't motherfuckers wear their perfect suits to like get crammed into a tiny seat, getting sweated on for 9 hours? And why don't they wear their like patent leather Oxfords when you have to take them off to go through security?
And I got to sit in the middle because some fucking weirdo guy's being annoying to my wife. He keeps like bumping in her leg, so I got to sit in the fucking middle. Like, fuck that shit. Fuck airplanes. Also,
I just think the seat could be bigger and the pitch could be longer. That's all I'm gonna say.
Go back to the sort of like the flying boat thing where there's 12 seats. They're all made of wicker. Every flight you get, you will die.
Yes,
but you'll do it with a couple of cocktails in you and relatively comfortable.
I listen. Anytime I've faced death, it's if I was drinking, it was always easier. So.
So, all right. So this is this government operated ferry, which is not the race to the bottom, but we're not talking about that. We are, of course, still talking about Townsend Thorensen.
Yeah, the race to the bottom.
Yeah.
Die England met
met eigen Auto. Die schnellste Autoverdienstove hit Kranenschlicks. So the deal, if you're not...
is that German?
Yeah, this is Dutch.
Oh, it sounded like German.
Yeah, close enough. So
it sounds like English in German.
Yeah. So the deal with both of these ads is Townsend Thorensen is fast. It's the fastest way to get across the channel, other than flying, I guess. And you get to bring your own car. It's a roll-on, roll-off ferry. You can drive your car on, you can drive your car off, and be over the channel in 75 minutes.
So not only is this privately owned capitalist venture designed to undermine a state-run corporation, but it's also encouraging car culture. So fuck this shit already.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, this is very much a sort of a day ship, right? There's not cabins on this thing.
A day collar.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Night ship. The night ship has a big chain on the front, where you can pull it around. The night ship lives in the shed in the backyard if it's bad.
They have to have a couple of cabins for like truck drivers and stuff who like have to like rest sleeping down, like lying down, sleeping in a bed. But other than that, not really. They have a lot of duty free on board too. Like the idea is you go to Europe, you buy a load of cheap booze, you load it all into your car, you drive back onto the ferry, and then if you want to buy like last minute some perfume or whatever, you do that on the ship. And so they Townsend Thorensen commissions from a German shipbuilder these Spirit class ferries, which is a class of 3. Spirit of Free Enterprise, Pride of Free Enterprise, Herald of Free Enterprise.
Wow.
Fucking stupid. I fucking hate these names so goddamn much.
These come in...
The ferry goes straight to Gulf's Gulch and then beaches itself
there. These come in 1980. They're faster than sea link is the thing. That's the thing about them. They're roll on, roll off, and they have doors at both ends. So essentially, the ship doesn't even have to turn around. You drive onto one end, you just drive straight off the other.
This boat is in a push-pull configuration.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I want to point out something though. Just look. Look at this boat going fast on the left-hand side. Roz, I don't know if you need the John Madden this, but just notice. I want you to, for the future, just notice the height of the water around the bow and the stern, and the lack of height around the midships where it says Townsend Thorensen. Just keep in mind that for future reference, it will never come into play. I just wanted you to remember that.
Yeah, for sure.
Something hydraulic drop something.
They also have like fast engines, fast accelerating engines. The idea is you get into port, you load and unload it really quickly, and then you just gun it, right? You go from harbor speed, which is not very much, to maximum across the channel, then harbor speed again.
It's me as soon as I get out of the no wake zone.
Yeah.
Just fucking tear that shit up. Fuck it. Get on plane.
And in order to do this, once you've done this, you can get like 1 more sailing per day than Sea Link has, which is, it's more money, right? It's good. It's efficient.
I mean, it's fast. It's cheap. It's they back in the day when they actually wrote advertising copy, which I have a real soft spot for. Kind of, you can't beat it.
Oh yeah, it is. I always like reading some old copy like that. Give yourself the blue ribbon treatment.
You can't beat it.
Yeah,
it's true. You know what else it has? Is cool 1980s angles.
Yes,
it's true.
Yes,
that shit's going to go back in time once you hit 88 knots.
All right. Here's the boring statistics. 432 feet 9 inches long. Yep. 76 feet 1 inch beam. Yep. 18 feet 9 inch of draught.
Same.
You can go 22 knots.
Same.
It can carry 1,400 people.
I need its weight in short and long tons.
Oh God!
And is that length overall or length at waterline?
Has a crew of 80, by the way.
Yeah,
yeah, pretty big crew. Like,
but almost all of them are like what you would call like passenger service, I guess. We'll get into sort of the deck department and engineering in a minute. But
yeah, I was about to say I'm not familiar. Like, what are the amenities on this boat? Like, okay, you go in, you shop till you drop.
A lot of shops. It's got a restaurant. Yeah. It's got like a cafe. It's got a bar. It's got a pub on board.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was
then you can drunk drive off the ship.
A two-deck galley. Yeah. There was a galley on 2 decks. There. It was actually like a pretty they had a lot of cool shit to do. I mean, on a pretty short journey, but yeah, it was a fairly modern and ship, and you could explain. You know, they had the cafe car. And all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about Bruges.
It's like a fucking fairy tale, isn't it?
It's cool. It's cool how like the harbor moles are just keeping like all of the silt out. It looks nasty as hell. Yeah. I hate shallow water. It's gross.
It's like that level in Banjo-Kazooie where you have the shark chasing after you. The water's all gross. That's a deep cut for the millennials and listen to this podcast.
Yeah, so it's not running the main Blue Ribbon route that we saw from Dover to Calais. Instead, it's running from Dover to Zeebrugge, which is what this is.
And it's not. It's like a little bit away from the actual Bruges, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It's a little bit.
Sort of like port of kind of vibe. And the ship is busier than normal because there's a coupon in the Sun newspaper that let you sail for £1.
First mistakes reading the Sun.
Yeah,
shouldn't do that.
Lot of tourists coming back from like booze cruises and like holidays in Ostend and stuff. A lot of troops, weirdly, because Britain still has like the British Army of the Rhine at this point. So
I was gonna say you still have fucking troops in Calais just in case.
Yeah, keeping a real watch on the Cinque Ports. No, but like guys would like drive back from Germany to see their families rather than fly as you would now. And the way you do that is just drive onto a ferry. So. It's also running late. They're running like 5 minutes late, which is a significant time pressure in this context. So
I was about to say, if you got a fast ferry like that, I mean, imagine running 5 minutes late. Oh my God.
There's a nice little like maelstrom. Like you could see that one ship that's like headed outbound. There's a little swirl there. It looks kind of cool.
That's
I like
Kraken.
Yeah. Yeah, I love all that oil and shit. Whatever the fuck that is.
Sort of Belgian Kraken.
Yeah.
Belgian Kraken.
Die Kraken.
The Belgians could never effectively wield a Kraken because they'd be too busy trying to fight, within each other between the Flemish and the Walloon.
That's true. Yeah. So the Herald of Free Enterprise has 3 car decks. They have like ramps between 2 of them, but ultimately you need like a ramp on the dock so you can just drive straight out once it's docked. But the berth at Zeebrugge doesn't have a ramp long enough. So that you need to like trim the ship. You need to ballast the ship to like move it up and down in the vertical plane.
You have to trim the head. She's really good at trimming the head.
Yeah. You have to it has to like kneel down to like load and unload. It has to like kneel down to trim the head.
Kneel down to receive loads.
Yes. Yeah. And then receive a massive load.
No loads refused.
Yeah, this is the day ship. You can't wait with the night ships like that. Bow and stern doors are open.
So they get to berth 12 in Zeebrugge. They unload all 3 decks and then they reload all 3. It's incidentally quite heavily overloaded to the tune of maybe like 270 tons. For 2 reasons. Reason 1, stuff just like accumulates on a ship because ship people are all hoarders. And you just be like, hey, where did this giant locker full of bullshit come from? And no one knows. It's just there now.
It's just there now.
It's been painted over so many times, it's like fused with the wall. So even if you wanted to do something about it, you can't. That's one thing. The other thing is that people lie about how much they weigh. I've never done this. So someone with a van full of like illegally purchased booze coming from Calais or Zeebrugge or whatever will be like, yeah, no, there's nothing in the back or whatever, and all of that adds up.
Which is funny because like the boat was actually underloaded in terms of passengers, so there was a lot of extra shit for it still to be overloaded, even though it was less than halfway full with its complement of passengers.
Yeah, just carrying a lot of extra shit, a lot of like bottles of beer and stuff.
Yeah, beer bottles, German scat porn, and
lockers full of stuff, full of shit. Yeah.
Our ship is entirely laden with petty theft. Not petty theft, I guess petty crimes in general.
Yeah.
That is most ships, just in general.
So order of operations here, right? What you do is you trim the ship, you dock, you open the doors, you unload all the cars, you load all the new cars, close the doors, and then you leave. And you do all of that as fast as you can.
Noted for doing everything as fast as you can is also noted for its precision and safety.
Yes.
Just want to make that clear.
So the normal practice in harbor is to go relatively slowly because retrimming the head takes time, and it's until they do that, it's like it's low in the water. So the general practice is if you see water come up like over the bow from the bridge, then you just like ease off a little bit. But they're late, so they don't do that, and they just gun it. Next slide, please. I'm going to talk about mariners. I'm going to talk about what a deck department is, how you organize it. And
let's talk about and since Liam's gone, right? There's no anarchist here. We're all about order and
yes,
things that in their place, like with labels.
Yeah,
and boats actually do really well. Like, no, you couldn't run a boat as an anarchy, contrary to what like you think of pirates. Really couldn't. You could be anarchist on land all you want, but on a boat, got to have a master.
Yeah. The next slide, please. There we go.
Oh boy, here we are.
So this is your typical hierarchy.
Listen, I'm on boats all the time. This is pretty standard shit. I mean, I don't understand what's so funny about it.
I was about to say,
on the poop deck.
He's hardly ever sick at sea.
Yes.
So from Dover to Zeebrugge, the deck department, the like guys who are in charge of the actual operations of the ship, as opposed to like the engineering, as opposed to all of the passenger service stuff. The guys who like the guy who drives it, right? That's a reductive way of describing it, but like those guys.
Just to be clear, right? Most vessels of this size have three departments. You have the deck, your engine, and then you have like the food or catering. Pussers department, whatever you want to call it, where so there's the people who drive the boat, the people who make it work, and the people who feed the people. Simple.
For those who are listening, just audio only, what we are looking at right now is a still from a production of HMS Pinafore.
Yes. Also, they, due to like centralization and technology, they took away two whole ass departments. You used to have a separate radio department. You used to have a separate like electromechanical department, and now budget cuts.
The fucking budget cuts. Division of labor is what made this species thrive, and capitalism's destroying. Return to tradition with a V.
That's right.
About to say, I mean, we're quickly specializing in where there's only one type of job anywhere, which is going on the computer.
Yeah, having an emails job.
I can't even. I can't even teach without my computer now. Like I forgot my computer one day at work. I was like, I have to go home because I can't do anything without. Everything's on the computer.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Heinlein. To be a generalist, impossible.
Goddamn fascist. Not really a fascist, but whatever.
So on this like small route from Dover to Zeebrugge, there's a master, who's the captain, a master mariner,
and a commander.
And
captain
he's
of the Pinafore.
Yes, he's a model of a modern major. Oh wait, no, that's not him.
No, that's Pirates of Penzance.
Yeah, that's right.
He's the one who never says a big D. And then, irrespective of how they're trimming the head,
you gotta trim the head for the big D when he gets on board. You gotta pipe that guy on board. All the poop deck, pipe it aboard.
My brain is still fully destroyed by a thing that we did on, I think it was Trash Future, where I tried to render like a deck call, like the whistle that a bosun does, and I did like "oh wee oh," and it's like that's the beginning of Buddy Holly by Weezer. And so now I'm just and she's just like Mary Tyler Moore or whatever. So
throwing your hat in the air. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a master. There's two officers. First officer, second officer. They call the first officer a chief officer. Is semantics. Dover to Calais, they had a whole extra guy. They had a whole extra officer. They had a third officer. And they have a set of standing orders, which are just for this ship, which are like from the shipping company. This is how you do shit. This is your like procedures. They don't say anything about opening or closing the doors. What they do say is the officer on watch must be on the bridge no later than 15 minutes before departure. So your first officer, your chief officer, he's in charge of cargo loading. He's in charge of like the refusing no loads.
Right.
But yes. he also has to be on the bridge 15 minutes before they leave. He has to be in two places at once. Okay, fine. So what are you to do about this, right?
Delegation.
This is why God, in his infinite wisdom, made second officers. So he goes to the second officer and is like, okay, you go supervise all this shit. But he doesn't do like any of this formally. It's not like the Navy or whatever, because that's
second
gay
officer,
shit.
You have the con.
Yeah, they don't do any of that. They don't do any like saluting or anything. They just like just go, yeah, just deal with this. And then the first officer
Not
just
my
leaves.
problem.
Yeah. First officer leaves to go up to the bridge. Right before they leave, however, there is some problem, I don't know what, that sends him back down to the car deck. And the second officer,
a shitload of scat porn came loose.
Yeah, the scat porn lockers have like blown a hole.
a whole tractor trailer.
Yeah.
Full of porn.
So the second officer, who is like meant to be supervising this, sees the first officer come back down and talk to the crew and goes, oh, he's just taking it back off of me. Well, I got to get to my thing, which is way back in the stern. I'm just going to go. In the course of this, no one has noticed that the assistant bosun, the guy whose job it is to actually press the button to close the doors, is missing.
Why is that, Alice?
Because he's asleep. He's asleep in his quarters.
Who would do that?
Love to take a nap on duty.
Yeah. The alarm has not woken him up, and no one has noticed that he's there and come to find him.
Those, like, I was supposed to say, like, bosuns are typically like hard ass, like assholes. Like, they're supposed to be over involved in all this shit because you're like the senior non-officer.
Yeah, the senior, right? Sure.
And you're supposed to be yelling at everybody. You're supposed to have like tattoos, a mustache, and you're supposed to be just yelling at people like, what are you, a fucking lubber, or some shit like that. That's what you're supposed to do.
Imagining sort of a Maddie Matheson type character.
You call it a bowling? The fuck are you, French sailor? All right, my accent broke there. I couldn't do that one.
Strangely, this is not the first time that this has happened on a ship of this class. In October, yeah, well, different ship. On October 1983, the Pride of Free Enterprise, the assistant bosun also sleeps through his watch. And they leave Dover with both the front and the back doors open before anyone notices.
That's fine. The water just passes through. Nothing bad happens.
Yeah, you're now a submarine. Cavitating quite heavily, but
the boat's stability is based on movement. If no one sees it entering, it's fine.
Yeah, and well, they catch it in time and they cover it up. But this is sort of a case study in like making your near misses, readily available for everyone to understand. Also, the bosun, your tattooed moustache guy, he goes down. He's the last member on the car deck, the last member of the crew down there. These doors, by the way, are large enough to fit like trucks through them. Basically, like a wall is missing. It's like open. He sees this. He is aware of this, and then he leaves. And when they ask him, because he survives, they ask him, why didn't you close the doors? He goes, it's never been part of my duties to close the doors or make sure anybody is there to close the doors.
England expects no man to do his duty.
You're more than my job.
Unless it's been explicitly written out beforehand in the standing orders.
Yes.
So the British Jack Tar spirit. Love that.
Marva, I'm on Smoko. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, I expect this shit from like an Italian ferry. I don't expect this shit from a British ferry. You have a reputation for being good seamen for a reason, and it is true.
Yeah, not a deserved one in this case, it seems.
Yeah, the fuck, like, yeah, nah,
drop the ball.
It's not my job because I ain't fucking doing that shit. Fucking pay me overtime.
I mean, a very strict like delineation of what your role is. So the first officer, he comes back on the bridge. The captain sees him again because they're not in the Navy and they're not gay. They don't do any kind of like report or whatever, right? Like they're not like, hey, is everything ready to go? No, the captain sees him on the bridge and he's like, well, time to fucking gun it.
They're noted for actually not speaking to each other, right? Like they're just nodding, they're grunting and nodding in the general direction of each other.
They hadn't achieved the kind of deeper level of like male friendship where you just name sports personalities to each other for like 4 hours.
Yeah,
like I've been on boats where the crew is so fucking good. We've done hundreds of hours together where we literally we all know what we're doing, right? And you don't have to say shit, but we still say shit if someone fucks up. Like I've been there, you know. Like you can't just like you also know like, oh shit, did Greg lock the, you know, or on like a small boat? Yeah. Hey, did you take the fucking drain plug out the boat? You know, like
did you lock up all the German scat porn? All of these things.
Did you do that? Did you secure the lines? Yeah.
Secure the liquor.
Did you plug in the boat sink plug? Yeah. It's literally like the first thing on the fucking checklist is to check to make sure that the drain plug is secure. It's the first thing before you go into patrol.
Yeah. Did you turn the lever from boat sink to boat float?
Wet to dry.
You might find yourself asking as the captain like guns the combinators here, is there a thing on the bridge that like tells him if the doors are open?
That's a good question.
There is not. And the company's view is, why should we have to pay for a thing that catches you not doing your job right? Yeah. We already pay a guy for this. Just have him do it.
Why have an indicator light when I pay a guy for it?
Yeah, exactly. Why I pay a whole ass guy to do that.
You know, this is fucking like the reverse of the American Class 1 railroad ethics. Like, you know, hey, we have a button that that lights up if the train's like going up, you know, not braking properly, or there's like, yeah, he lost all your things, so we only need one guy. This is the fucking opposite of that. This is like, no, we have a guy who checks for that. Like, we're not putting the light in.
This is back when lights were more expensive than guys.
That's true. Yeah.
We didn't have LEDs yet. It was a big ass fucking bulb stuck in the goddamn helm.
It's like some kind of like Nixie tube type thing, or like a fucking Edison bulb.
It's like a mechanical linkage. It has to go through 4 decks. And
you had to throw like an actual breaker, like the old timey where the breaker actually made the circuit.
Yeah, it's alive. That kind of like big like knife switch
ladder going off. Yeah, Jacob's ladder's going off, guys. I think the doors are open.
It's lighting up a big fucking Tesla coil.
Dude, I saw this shit at the Franklin Institute. This fuck's crazy. That means something's wrong. What's that globe called that you touched?
Von Braun
Van de Graaff
generator.
Yeah, it's the same guy who makes the scat board. You hold that, and that tells you just hold down, and it tells you like how many lightning strikes. Tells you if the door's open or closed. That'd be fucking cool as shit if that was the actual way we did this.
You get a horrible shock every time, but you know it is. England expects every man to do his duty.
Yeah, grin and bear it. Calais spirit.
Next slide. This is yours.
I had to throw that in there. I didn't have time to put our faces on it.
Very good.
Yeah, very good.
Great movie too.
Yeah, it is a good movie.
All right, we have a low res GIF here.
Oh, love a low res.
Oh,
GIF.
is this a GIF?
Yeah.
Oh,
it probably is a GIF. It isn't animated. It's a static GIF.
Oh,
yeah.
My favorite kind of GIF.
Yes.
Take a strong position that GIF is bullshit. We don't do that here.
I'm good with either. I'm going to be honest. I'm a switch in that respect.
You know, I stick with the I'm being an English teacher and the language nerd, that the G should represent G. So GIF. Yeah.
GIF. Yeah.
Yes.
GIF.
Yeah.
GIF is some sort of bullshit we got inherited from the French.
GIF is a type of peanut butter.
Exactly.
GIF is a kind of like cleaning product that was then renamed to Sif, weirdly enough. No, seriously, that's true. They genuinely had like I think it was like oven cleaner or something, but it used to be called Jif, and then they renamed it Sif.
And too many people thought it was the peanut butter, and they changed the name.
Yeah, to more evoke sort of venereal diseases. All right, so what's going on here? What is this shit?
It's the free surface effect.
It's the free surface effect, as you can see. It's labeled as such.
There's a date and time on here. I don't know if I don't want to read that because that's not my job.
Shall I read this and you can just cut me off when I say something dumb?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can read it, but I want the right person to read the date and time.
I can't read.
Wait, hold on. I have something for this.
I know you can read.
No.
Not that you need to read to graduate college, but you did read our messages today. Look, there's a tradition. Listen, as a fan who's now been on here the second time, so fuck you, everyone else, who's been here less.
You get like free well drinks at the
guy who's putting together the TV. Oh yeah. The TV tropes guy or gal or non-binary pal who puts together the funny moments for each episode. They expect that Roz is going to say a phrase.
That's true. That is always a funny moment.
Yeah. So I don't want to fuck that up.
On the 6th of March, 1987 at 18:05 local time. That's 6:05 if you use normal time.
I will never use normal time. Yeah.
I'm not that tactical. 6:05 local time, 6:05 p.m. The ferry got underway from Zeebrugge with the doors open and the ballast tanks full.
Yeah, head fully trimmed.
Yeah, the head was trimmed. They did not untrim the head. They did not get off their knees after they accepted the loads. So, yeah.
90 seconds later, an unexpected stowaway crept in through the open doors. The lethal chemical dihydrogen monoxide.
Man, that shit's fucked up, man. Everyone who's ever died has consumed that chemical.
That's true.
It's true. It's so hard to get away from it, though.
It's like the Terminator. If you remember my voice from the SSL Pharaoh episode, our old friend, the sea surface effect, the free. This is beer number 3. Free surface effect. Hey, so once you have water on your boat that's not supposed to be there, it likes to slosh back and forth, and since water is heavy as fuck, it likes to really make your ship go to one side or the other.
It's really cool when this happens with like other fluids, particularly stuff that's loaded as cargo when it's not a fluid. Some of my least favorite shit in a mariner context is the knowledge that bauxite, the ore you get fucking, I don't know, tin or something out of
aluminum.
Aluminium.
Aluminium.
The ore that you get aluminium out of, when you load it as an aggregate, occasionally it just turns into a liquid because it feels like it, and you load it in these big bins, and so it'll free surface effect and it'll sink your ship, just for fun.
Remember when the bauxite bins was hard? Yeah. So it likes to do that, and well, on the SSL Pharaoh, the cars inside turned into liquid as well, and helped because
being made of aluminium largely.
Yes.
Yeah. So we also have something called the squat effect.
Yeah, it's after you trim the head and accept the load.
Once it's after you come home from a heavy squat session, and your quads are kind of wobbly, and you try to sit on the toilet. You're pretty unstable. So that when you have so this boat was filled with power lifters coming back from a competition in Belgium, and the squat effect. I don't know where the fuck I'm going with that. So I may have mentioned earlier the image of the vessel with depressed water in the midships.
We've got that in the next slide.
We got it in the next slide. Yeah. So if the vessel, when it's going through water, and every boat does this, no matter how big it is and how shallow the water, how fast, it draws water to the stern and bow, right? And it pushes away from the midships. I forget what you called it, Roz, like a hydraulic jump. Is that what you called it?
You got your hydraulic drop, and that's more of a that's something. It's more of like a open channel flow thing as opposed to this, but I assume it's the same mechanism.
So maritime sailors, that's too many syllables for a sailor to understand. So they just call it the squat effect. and so what happens? The shallower the water and the faster the vessel's moving, the more exaggerated the squat effect is. So think about this: the bow is open, the bow doors are open. The thing's they're gunning it, right? Mm-hmm. So the bow is further down normal because the head's not trimmed. The head's trimmed. And now you have the squat effect because they're doing like 19 knots. And they're in really shallow water in Bruges Harbor. Or Zeebrugge, whatever it's pronounced, harbor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all of this, if we remember our Swiss cheese theory, lines up.
Yeah. And because of the free surface effect, the ship starts swaying pretty dramatically from like the second they like loose moorings. When this happens, passengers in the bar cheer ironically in the way they do when a waitress drops a plate in Britain. We're like, "Wait!" like that.
They do that here sometimes too.
Yeah,
they do that here.
One of the like shittiest things you can do, I would say, and they are about to be punished for this. Next slide.
Yeah,
this is just the squat effect.
Yeah. So just pay attention to that. And had this boat been going slower, not been trying to like gun it out of the harbor as fast as possible, because this is 90 fucking seconds into the journey.
Yeah.
They would have been able to catch it and close it. Apparently, that had happened before.
I think that was the like Pride of Free Enterprise one. Yeah,
and they caught it because they weren't going too fast. But in this case, it was.
I thought that one actually made it all the way across the channel with the doors open.
Shit.
It's a free skylight, you know.
That's having your zipper down, like when you're a teacher, the whole fucking class.
None of the kids tell you that because children are cruel.
Well, no, because what will happen is if a child points it out, they'll make like, "What are you, gay?" for pointing out something like that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Slide. There we go. This is what you don't like to see. This is some shit that you don't like, typically.
Yeah, this is not an ideal situation.
That's not where water's supposed to be on a boat.
No. So someone, one of the passengers comes back down because they like forget something in their car and sees the ocean, the channel, like in the car deck, like an infinity pool. They describe it. And literally, the second they get out from the harbor breakwaters, the second they're in like open water, the ship falls over. It's not even really a capsize. The ship just like almost instantly perfectly rotates 90 degrees. Like if you imagine where you, listener, are now, imagine you are now falling like 1G sideways across the room. That's going to be a rough experience for you. If like
I'm close to one wall though. So that one wouldn't be so difficult. The other wall though, that would be difficult. Yeah. That would be unpleasant.
Well, the captain's on the bridge. The bridge is a very wide room. He falls 12 meters just from a standing start.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, God.
like break some of his ribs, I think, which that'll happen. Like it's really bad. Like later rescuers say that the interior walls are like covered in blood from people falling onto bulkheads and then falling onto each other and just being crushed.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
If you're outside, right, and you're on the right side of the ship, you can just, much like MS Estonia, you can just get up, walk along the hull, and you're fine.
Yeah.
If you're on the wrong side of the ship,
yeah, you have a ship on top of you.
Yeah, you got a ship on top of you. That's not very good.
Pretty heavy too. I wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably couldn't lift it.
The whole contingent of Belgian power lifters wouldn't be able to do that either.
Useless in this context. Much like the Estonia, you get the sort of like extra horror of like walking along this hull and people are like trying to get out through the portholes under your feet. As one survivor says, we were walking on people's faces and fists, hammering at the windows.
Jesus Christ.
The restaurant has a big sort of like glass partition wall in it, and people get like stuck under that. One guy tries to punch through it, breaks all the bones in his hand.
Use a chair, man.
But the good news is the ship doesn't sink very far, because it gets stuck on a sandbank because it's shallow water.
Yeah, it's only 90 seconds into its journey. You know, it's not very far out.
Yeah. It just rolls over and just gets stuck there. Next slide.
Real quick, because I wrote this one, I'm going to go pee.
Yeah, no worries.
All right.
Sorry. Being designated lamb.
I still have fucking HMS Pinafore stuck in my head.
I am the monarch of the sea, the ruler of the Queen's Navy, whose praise Great Britain gladly chants, and we are sisters and cousins and his aunts. And
I'm not joining in with you. I respect myself too much. He was used to give me the patter songs anyway.
My granddad did a lot of Gilbert and Sullivan at the community theater in Lexington, Virginia.
Oh, it's an institution, absolutely.
Yeah,
not always a good one, but it is an institution.
I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before.
I don't think so. I think this is deep.
We got a couple recordings of him somewhere at home, and you'd have because it was on one hand you had all these highly trained, very academic Washington and Lee professors and stuff who were doing some of the Gilbert and Sullivan, right? And they have all the sophisticated accents and stuff like that. And then you'd have the local yokels also in there. So you'd hear a guy who sounds like Tom Sexton from the Trillbillies doing Gilbert and Sullivan.
I badly want to hear like Pirates of Penzance with that dynamic.
Yes.
Like where every pirate and every cop in Pirates of Penzance is like, has the Trillbillies accent. Perfect. Yeah. Perfection.
Oh, fuck.
And a felon's not engaged in his employment. Or pursuing his felonious little plan.
What song is this?
Oh, we're doing Pirates of Penzance. That's like a stretch goal on the Patreon. You pay enough, you can hear me, Justin, and Liam do Pirates of Penzance.
Beautiful. If it's like a black metal version, I'd be down for that. Yeah. I don't know the lyrics. That's more death metal now.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go. That's Varg enough for you guys.
So everybody gets wet, I believe, is what happens next.
Wet. Yeah, in cold water. So the one thing about being wet in cold water is you pretty much guaranteed to die real fast, especially if it's really cold. So if you are facing a situation where you're about to get wet in cold water, you should probably try not to get wet. I would advise that.
Yes.
Or put a survival suit on, because that drastically increases your survival time. But the thing is, when a boat tips over in 90 seconds, you don't really have time to get the lifeboats, get your immersion gear on.
You're now on the floor. You're in a corridor that is now a sort of vertical lift shafts.
Yeah. You're that cool level in Uncharted 2 or 3. I forget which one has the cool boat. You're in that sick in your sideways. Thinking about the El Faro, where the reason that they all died is because the captain was up his ass and didn't do things fast enough. This is just everything's too fast to respond to. You're not expecting a ship to sink this quickly. Because you're not expecting to drive it with its fucking doors open. So I looked up the average English Channel temperatures in March is from 8 Celsius to 10 Celsius. That's 46 to 50 Fahrenheit. It was 3 Celsius that night. So that's 37.5 degrees Fahrenheit. That's very close to freezing. That's cold as shit. So based on this chart we have, and we have a polar bear plunge going on the right hand side, which I will never understand. But if you do that,
not going to take part in those. Thank you.
Yeah, if you do that, sure.
I want to avoid that one.
I'm not king shaming on this, but
I go to the beach in winter plenty of times, but like I'm not going to touch the water.
I've seen like tactical guys trying to do like Arctic survival training, where it's like, yeah, we're going to teach you how to do this by like digging an ice hole and throwing you in there and all your gear, and I'm like, okay, have fun.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Like the die grabbing at the bottom of fucking ice. Fuck that shit.
Yeah. Maybe I don't want to be a tier 1 operator anymore. Thank you.
Shit. There goes that career. So if we use our chart here, let's look at this. Let's do some. I'm not great at math. I'm an English teacher. So water temperature is 3 Celsius.
It's less than 5.
Yeah, it's less than 5. I know my cardinality pretty well. So working clothes only. You want to look at that one there because they're not wearing a membrane suit with a liter of leakage.
No one pull a drop of that.
Yeah. Wearing my working clothes. So let's look at there. What's that survival time there, Roz? What do you think? You're a math guy.
Oh, well, that would appear to be slightly under 1 hour.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking short amount of time before you're rescued. The general kind of rule of thumb is if you were immersed in cold water, you have about 15 minutes before you lose consciousness, and that's a rule of thumb. That's the point between after 15 minutes you're looking at recovery versus rescue.
Yeah. And of course, like there's a lot of like you get a broad cross section of humanity with a civilian passenger ship. You get some guys who are like very young and fit. You get like all the way down through to like old people, children. All different survival times.
Belgian bodybuilders.
Yeah,
the Belgian power lift. Well, the bodybuilders, if they're just off competition, so they're very low body fat. They're dying almost like 10 minutes in. The power lifters, they're 350 pounds. They're 40% body fat, and they can lift the engine out of a truck on their own. They're going to be an hour and a half. They'll be pretty good. They're well insulated guys.
Yeah. I looked this up at Zeebrugge. The emergency services calculation was by the time like they got to you, by the time that you were rescued from the water, if you were like unresponsive by the time you got there, the longest you should be waiting to get into an ambulance was 60 seconds. So
yeah, that tracks because they have to warm you up, and they can't warm you up fast. It's got to be just like gradual things. There's a whole fucking procedure you have to do for each person, warming them up slowly because you can't just like throw them into a fucking sauna. We're not in Finland. Most people's bodies aren't built for this. And
one Finnish guy who's like still down there, he's like
he's
eating
down there.
He's like eating. He's like cracking open oysters with his hands.
He's like submerged in like 30 feet of water, and he's still taking vodka shots.
Somewhere
percolate.
Somewhere deep in the like lizard brain, he's like, I might put on like a vest or something, maybe.
I gotta curse here, but there might be some shitty cars in here. I might be able to fucking try and drive my way out of this.
Yeah, he's like working on like a project Datsun from the car.
Hey, he's doing my summer car. When my winter car comes out, that'll be a great rebuilding the Datsun in the bottom of the fucking lake.
It's a survival horror game. My winter car.
The continuation war, part 2. The Jesus Christ. It's amazing we're laughing at this shit, but yeah, like the fucking because they figure by the time they get to you, if you're unresponsive, you're almost dead, unless you're somehow triggered that mammalian diving reflex, whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Where you can just like decide, I'm gonna be asleep now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sleep. I'm going to put I'm gonna put my brain on sleep mode. Shake my mouse to wake me up.
And they do this. They successfully revived a couple of people who were in the water for like 2-3 hours. But the tiny minority.
Hi, it's Justin. So this is a commercial for the podcast that you're already listening to. People are annoyed by these, so let me get to the point. We have this thing called Patreon, right? The deal is you give us $2 a month, and we give you an extra episode once a month. Sometimes it's a little inconsistent, but it's $2. You get what you pay for. It also gets you our full back catalog of bonus episodes, so you can learn about exciting topics like guns, pickup trucks, or pickup trucks with guns on them. The money we raise through Patreon goes to making sure that the only ad you hear on this podcast is this one. Anyway, that's something to consider if you have $2 to spare each month. Join at patreon.com/WTYP pod. Do it if you want. Or don't. It's your decision, and we respect that. Back to the show.
Yeah, we can talk about the rescue effort. So,
Here you can see the large open door.
Yeah, the big sort of hole. Yeah. Gaping hole.
That's where the gaping hole for all the loads are. Yeah. No loads are refused to that hole, guys.
They left it gaped, which is a major problem. So because this is right outside the harbor, the crew of a dredger outside it, dredging up all that horrible silty water, sees a ferry just fall over and sort of calls everyone. Which is handy because they're right there.
There's no way that I don't believe that Herald of Free Enterprise issued a mayday. I don't think they ever
didn't have the time. No,
didn't have the time to do it.
You're at the radio. The radio is 12 feet in the air.
Yeah. But so they do it for them, and you get many helicopters, many boats, all this. Remarkably fast response.
Many such boats.
Yeah. Within 2 hours, you have Belgian, Dutch, British, and German Navy divers in the wreck looking for survivors. Problem is that 2 hours is, as we saw, more than 1 hour, which is your sort of estimated survival time. As they're in there, they can't get into the car decks because the water's full of fuel. They're surrounded by dead bodies, trying to pick out people who are maybe still moving. And they find.
I'm sorry. I just imagine being that diver.
Oh yeah.
And just in this murk, you just have fucking bodies upon bodies. It's just Jesus Christ.
I mean, diving in general is sort of a horrific enough experience that it's probably the least traumatic thing that happened to you that week. You're I just got off of the rigs. I saw my best friend get exploded through a 1-inch gap in a seam.
Yes.
Had
a Delta P incident.
I underwater welded my own arm off.
Well, I heard over the radio once from underwater welder that who's overdue, and I overheard the rescue efforts. It was out in Atlantic City, and you could pick it up on the Delaware River over the radio. So we were actually headed back from our patrol. We could just hear the people talking about, hey, he's been 10 minutes overdue, 30 minutes overdue, an hour overdue. Okay, it's recovery now. That shit fucked up on its own normally.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that.
Yeah. Divers aren't normal is the thing.
All that shit's in confined spaces too. You we had to send a guy into a 3-foot water main.
Yeah, the kind of guy who gets voluntarily into the sort of the underwater coffin with his metalworking tools. There's a reason why you have to have a special flag to hoist up to be hey, this fucking psycho is in the water. It's not for his safety, it's for yours.
Yeah, claustrophobia is one of the most common anxieties, and that makes sense because you don't want to do that.
Whereas these guys, claustrophilia.
Yes.
But they find some pockets of people who are above water and largely rescue them. But it sort of rapidly becomes apparent that pretty soon everyone will be dead. And good news, the tide's rising. So the tide comes up. They're hammering on bulkheads.
Yeah, and at one point they actually have the helicopters. Hey, go away from the area because we can't hear any hammering with your thump 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 in the air. Jesus Christ! That's so
hammering on the inside of a hull for rescue is that's a horror that I picked up reading about in Pearl Harbor. Yeah. And stuck with me. Thus why I'm not a diver and I won't be.
Mm-hmm.
But the tide comes up, it's not safe, so they have to essentially call it at that point, leave everyone to die, come back in the morning and recover the bodies.
Can you imagine that? Could you imagine thinking rescue's right there, then they have to leave? Like, I really want to like drive home this like human shit. Like, just imagine that. Like all because someone was taking a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was taking a nap and like no one checked. Like it's
he was taking a nap and he survived
as much as anything else. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. The bosun. Yeah, assistant bosun's fucking survived. Fucking asshole.
Yeah. Well, he was apparently like quite heroic in the rescue, which you know, so cool.
Yes, I guess. You know what? If you don't like in that scenario, if you don't go down with this, if you don't like help rescue people, like or die trying, like. It's like the Italian Coast Guard yelling at the guy, the Costa Concordia, to get the fuck back on the boat.
Cazzo, schettino, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't write the rest of the slides, so.
So there was 500 people on board, out of a capacity of 1,400, and there was 193 deaths. So the fact that more people didn't die is a testament to a couple factors. It was close to shore. There was a lot of help nearby because it was right outside the harbor. There was a quick response, and she wasn't at full capacity. I mean, that was the biggest saving grace that this wasn't worse. And it's already the worst maritime disaster in British history up to that point. I don't know if it's been exceeded, but most people died of the hypothermia, right? Yeah. And I guess I say here is it's a small comfort that hypothermia. You know, once you're panicking. Once that panic wears over you, it's just disassociation, and you're delusional. And I've nearly drowned twice. I've had hypothermia twice. I drastically would rather die hypothermia than drowning, because drowning, your lungs feel like you're full of needles.
Oh, I have almost drowned once. Did not care for it at all.
Yeah, I was doing a diving pool. I was 20 feet underneath, and I was I had no buoyancy left because I pushed all my air out. And once you get below a certain point, there's no buoyancy left. The pressure is keeping you down. And I was like a foot away from the ladder. So I had to like scramble the ladder, and I started inhaling water on my way up. And that fucking sucked.
I managed to do it as a kid. I got trapped under a capsized sailboat by my by my life vest, ironically, which was trying very hard to become a death vest. I didn't care for it, so yeah.
So you never wear a life jacket under deck. Yeah.
All my near-death experiences.
I wasn't under deck until the deck was on top of me. Yeah.
All my near-death experiences have been from fall hazards, so I can't relate.
I've drunkenly survived falls.
I assume that one would be a fairly quick one to go.
But hypothermia, you really do. The last time I had hypothermia, I felt like I was controlling myself like as a video game. I thought it was like third person perspective. And then my grandma
found the perspective switch thing.
Yeah, my grandma yelled at me. He's like, "What are you doing? Like, you've been outside too long. Get back in." And I came back inside, and it took me like a half hour to really warm up. But it did not hurt. It felt fine. The second time that happened to me, I was trying to my car had stalled in the middle of the winter, and I was waiting for help, and my hands had stopped working, so I couldn't fix the tire. So I just sat in the car and wore myself up. But yeah, that shit was fucked up. Definitely prefer that to the needles in your lungs.
Yeah,
and we already mentioned that they were traveling on a cheap deal. So like I said, this is the natural consequence of being a Tory.
Yes.
Yeah, never read the Sun, never buy the Sun, don't sell the Sun.
Yes.
Don't acknowledge its existence like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Read one of Britain's fabulous left-wing papers, which I assume exist.
Oh, many of them.
Center. Best I could do is center left.
Center left and weirdly transphobic.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Fucking assholes. Just let people be people, fucking assholes.
Yes.
Punch all of you. I'm gonna punch every Guardian author. How about that? None of them. Listen, I'm 260 pounds. You know, I can probably squat their weight. You're not gonna win. I'll take two of you on. And Graham Lineham, like, I will suplex you. I don't know if I said this on the last time I was on, but like, I got blocked by him because I DM'd him and I said I'm glad that Frank Kelly and Dermot Morgan died before they could see what a bigot you were. And he just blocked me. Yeah, piece of shit. Fucking ruining Father Ted for me. It's a great show. It is. I'm glad your wife left you. Yeah. Coward. Coward. Yeah, piece of shit. All right, I guess next slide.
Well, I want to say one of the Guardian guys tried to get what's his name? Black Books guy.
Dylan Moran.
Dylan Moran. They tried to get him like, what do you think of transphobia? And he's like, I don't care.
I think it's bad or whatever.
It's bad. Transphobia is bad.
I'm too busy smoking cigarettes to really answer you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really want to I want to emphasize like human shit here, because that's like it's lost on disaster sometimes, especially if you're one of these fucking freaks who listens to your podcast and thinks that I just want the engineering facts. I don't want the commentary and politics, because all this shit is politics. All this shit is human, and that's why you had the chunky marinara during Italian week and or Italian month, and this is why we have bodies here. So most of the survivors were on the upper weather decks, or the decks not facing where flip.
The guys who like don't even get their feet wet, really.
Yeah, you die pretty quick because you're stuck underneath the fucking ship. But there were some pretty like badass people involved here that I want to highlight. So a fucking ex-cop and bank manager, his guy, so Boo, I guess.
Yeah.
But he was his name's Andrew Parker. He used his body as a human gangplank and let 20 people walk over him.
Masochistically, he's like, just walk over me. Starting with my girlfriend, I guess, with familiar territory. And then at the end of that shit, at the end of that shit, after like doing that for like a half hour, he just pulls himself up and like gets out.
Yeah, just like crazy. Fucking the plank challenge, but 1987. Yeah, I mean, I guess he does like a fucking muscle up, like with. How the fuck do you get yourself over there? Like, Jesus Christ. But he's credited with like letting at least like 20.
How did he get himself down there in the first place?
Well, I don't know, broken walkway. I guess he like, I don't know. Can you again referencing Uncharted
fall
here?
Across and
he must
have like just slammed his face down onto the other side. Like
I don't like. It must have been. It must have been short enough, like that he could lay across it, and like he didn't like it wasn't like a fucking 6-foot gap and his like arms are outstretched or something like that. It must have been shorter. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Weird.
But the guy got like I think it was like the George medal. Is that like your
sounds right?
Saving lives medal. So an Irish trucker, so Irish we support, but he ended up becoming a Fine Gael counselor. So boo. Sinn Féin only.
Yeah, but it's like a do nothing job. So whatever.
Mm-hmm. You got that Irish Communist Party, but some of them are attached to some unsavory elements, continuing the IRA struggles. Sorry if I pissed you off there.
No.
I'm sorry that I think that you probably should abide by the treaty and not blow each other up continually. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, it's pretty soon. It's not going to be just them violating the Good Friday Agreement. So
this is true.
Yeah. Let the other guys violate it first. Then don't blow them up on your own. It's gotta be self-defense. It's like you
gotta let the
identify the threat and eliminate it.
Stand your ground.
I can't do a North Irish accent. Yeah, stand your fucking ground.
Northern Iron. Yeah.
So Larry O'Brien, they realized there was no other survivors once he escaped, and so he fucking returned. He's like, shit, there's no one else. I'm gonna go back in. And him and several other survivors are credited using a rope to haul people out of the ferry through a broken porthole. So
these are kind of like these are the times that test men's souls, right? Because I remember reading one thing from another survivor who was like, yeah, we were almost out. They like lowered down the ladder to us. My girlfriend was behind me, and I just fucking left her there. She was fine. Like she got out right after me. She didn't need any help, but I didn't fucking stop and check, and I felt bad about it the rest of my life. And I'm like, yeah.
I would probably fucking kill myself if I didn't like get my significant other out. And then maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm weird because I have like
ethically do that after you've been rescued.
You can't. I guess what I'm saying is you don't know until it happens to you. You have absolutely no idea how you're going to behave. You can just hope.
Well, like one time, like the last time we flew, not this past year, but like I forget what it was, but they couldn't seat us on the same flight together. So I was like, "Fuck it, we're taking another flight." And my wife's like, "Well, why can't we sit apart?" And I said, "Because I'm not leaving until if there's an accident, I'm fucking coming getting you, and I'm dying or getting you. Like I'm not leaving you on the fucking plane." I would rather die than be that person, and like that, so fuck that guy. And, I was just thinking, like once more into the porthole, dear friends. Once more closes the wall with our English dead. So, good job, guys. Maybe someone was thinking about Henry V while they were doing this.
Maybe.
I'm controversial there. That's my favorite Shakespeare play, just because it's just dudes rocking. And then half is in French. I don't remember the French, but the French part I can't understand, so I ignore that. I just skip through the fight scenes. And speaking of Skip, there's a guy named Michael Skippin.
Nice.
Yeah. He was a waiter. He died at his post as a waiter, helping passengers escape the restaurant.
The thin something line.
The thin black.
The thin, I guess.
White?
We need to come up with a line for waiters.
What's the best sauce? What's the best French sauce? What color is that?
Probably like a hollandaise, maybe.
The thin, the worst yellowish one would line.
Yeah,
the thin 12 pieces of flair.
What's the le lan thin de? I don't know. I don't speak French. So
really,
yeah. But yeah, so shouts out to that guy, like being dedicated to a job so much that he helps people escape.
It's like they tell you in Waiter Academy, protect and serve, right?
Yes.
Oh man, I had a friend who was at Waiter Academy. Actually, it was a Chef Academy. And Anthony Bourdain came to like the restaurant at the academy.
It's like the commandant of the Marine Corps coming to like a class of waiter.
Well, so of course, and Anthony Bourdain was super chill. He was like, everyone wanted to talk to him, and so he was talking to everybody, and they're all giving him drinks. He didn't pay for fucking anything, even though he wanted to. And he's so hammered, he gets up. He's like, I gotta take a piss. And however, Anthony Bourdain, he would say that, and he gets up, he goes to the coat room and just pees over everyone's coats. That fucking hammered. And the rumor is that like he paid for everyone's dry cleaning bill because he was a good guy. But he fucking he could
stand up guy.
Stand up guy.
Yes.
So a lot of these rescuers are awarded by. Do we have a cue that we can drop when I say this next name, like a lightning bolt? Like when
I think I actually hold on.
Let me know when you're ready.
Wilhelm scream.
Do I have a thunder thing?
Thunderbolt, like in Young Frankenstein.
Actually, yeah. Okay.
You ready? All right. Many of the rescuers were awarded by Margaret Thatcher. And then King Baldwin? Yeah, they saw a fucking king's named Baldwin. I thought that was the 12th century.
Yeah, I thought that was like the first of Jerusalem.
I was about to say.
You have your Baldwins of you have your 19th century, like the Baldwins of history, and all 5 of them are kings of Jerusalem, and then a Baldwin of Belgium.
But they're even prissier about that too, because they like insist on king of the Belgians, not just of Belgium.
Oh yeah, king of the Belgay or the Belgiay.
Yeah, there's also
the Frisiae and the.
There's a Baldwin Locomotive Works.
Yeah, that's critical support for that Baldwin.
Yes,
I feel bad for the Baldwin 9000 just trapped in that cage. It yearns for its regulator to be thrown open with wild abandon.
It does yearn for freedom. I will. That thing's probably you could probably get that thing working again with relatively little effort.
I mean, it's been indoors. It just goes back and forth 15 feet. Just I want that shit on the Northeast Corridor pulling a bunch of Amtrak cars. And
yeah, you could probably do 100 miles an hour in that, no problem.
Yeah, go blowing through the. Imagine you're the asshole who parks your car on the level crossing in like Connecticut and gets your car just destroyed by the Baldwin 9000. And then,
or you're a cop and you park your car and then you put a suspect in there and then it gets hit by a train, as happened last week.
Right. Well, what you do is you tie the cops. You do the trolley problem, except they're all cops, so you pull the lever regardless, and they all get run over. You probably have to bleep that. Yeah. So standard attention salute for these heroes.
Yes.
No, truly, like it takes some fucking like
some gumption to not be the guy who's just
moxie.
like, okay, I'm just leaving now. Bye.
Yeah, you go fucking back inside, like after you're safe, and you're like, fuck it, like there's a survival instinct. Like I like the guy who left his girlfriend behind. His lizard brain kicked in, where he really hated his girlfriend, and
sort of an awkward conversation afterwards, I imagine.
So maybe both.
Yeah, a little bit of both, and but there's some people who are able to control it, and maybe it's because of my background, but like, like I think everyone admires a rescuer. So credit to those. You remember that badass of the week site? So yeah, they're your badass of the week.
That's right.
Yeah. I guess you don't have Eternal Father Strong to Save queued up, so I guess we'll skip to the next slide.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Can edit that in, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Edit in Devin saluting.
unless it gives us a copyright strike.
Do you guys still do the weird British salute that way?
Yes, but only in an army context, not in a navy context. So if you're on a naval salute, it's the same as yours.
Oh, so it's okay, cool. I always knew I like the British Navy or the Royal Navy more.
There's a folk etymology about that. That's because it's like it was considered like indecorous to show an officer your like filthy sailor palm that's like covered in grease and whatever.
Those motherfuckers were using pumice to like sand down the teeth.
Yeah.
They had an immaculate hand.
Exfoliated to shit.
Those sailors, listen, they could sew their hands. They ground their hands down with pumice.
Yep.
They could cook.
This is just our flag means death.
They were ideal partners. Like seriously, they were. Yeah, it's just the cheating around the syphilis thing.
Yeah. Also the scurvy thing, depending on time period. Yeah.
You know what's the most fucked up thing about scurvy is like your old wounds that you've never will open up. So like imagine like I have a big like wound on my knee from I was taking enemy fire in paintball and I slid down a hill. I ripped my leg open and just imagining that open up again. So fucked up. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, don't get scurvy. Eat some fruit.
Yeah. Eat some limes, folks.
Yeah.
Even in just like a cocktail sort of dosage, probably still fine.
Drink Dark and Stormies.
Yeah.
Ooh,
one of those. Yeah.
Have some tequila.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got to talk about because now you have like a big rolled over boat with a bunch of dead bodies in it and everything in it's broken. What you want to do is you want to refloat it, which they do pretty easily with harbuckling, rotational leverage. This is a thing this is why you see the fucking like pylons on the back of this.
Let's construct additional pylons.
Yeah, for sure.
I parbuckle my chicken before I fry it so it doesn't dry out.
Yes.
You fucking use chains, cables, and a bunch of pulleys, and you just lever it right the fuck over, which is what they do.
Always these things in naval salvage are always very, very impressive to me. Just the size and the scale of the equipment involved.
Yeah,
there's a lot of money to be made salvaging it because of the fucking weird ass salvage laws. Like where you can, it's yours now.
Yep, it's like small finders fee, if anything. Yeah, so they go through and like it takes them like months to get all the bodies out and everything. And then curiously, no one wants to buy this shit because it's good. Like it's a little wet, but it's good.
Minor moisture damage.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine. It's made of steel. It doesn't matter.
The whole
VHS tapes of the scat porn. They were in a watertight container, so that's still good to go.
I mean, there had to be.
Yeah. So they try and sell it to various people who are not interested. They end up renaming it the Flushing Range,
which I think is an insult. That's fuck that shit.
and then
Flushing Range.
Yeah, and then it's sent to what the notes describe as Honk Kong for scrapping.
Honk Kong.
I wrote that. I'm an idiot. I'm an English teacher, by the way. Did you know that? Hey, K and G are the same sound, except one's voiced, one's not. So
yeah, for sure. Probably, in Cantonese, Honk Kong is more accurate. It isn't, but maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
We'll pretend. Give me that whisper of a hope.
Yeah. So they try and tow it to Hong Kong, but by this point it's like October of '87. There's a big storm which snaps it off the tow rope off of Brittany.
That's braise to you. We uphold Celtic nationalism.
Braise?
Yeah. Braise. It's braise. I looked it up.
Is it braise?
Like braising a steak.
Huh.
Yeah. So hard-buckling and braising.
Yeah.
Steak.
Yes.
Delicious parbuckles. So
I don't think you should parbuckle a steak. I think that would be that sounds like something my dad would do.
I'm using leverage to rotate the steak in my mind.
Setting up a bunch of little pulleys in the edge of the frying pan. Yeah, so they tow it. It's like a Hulk at this point. All of the like scat porn is falling out of the lockers and stuff. It's like rusting.
Yeah.
And then finally in
batteries.
Yeah. Finally,
guy's still trying to fucking get his car to start.
Yeah. And then finally in 1988 it reaches Hong Kong. One Finnish man drives off in a half-finished Datsun, straight off the roll-off ramp,
drinking Kiyu or Kiju, however it's pronounced, out of a fucking 5-gallon tub that like a bus tub he fermented it in.
And then
I was born a few days later after it was returned to Hong Kong.
Holy shit!
That Finnish man was Tom Paine.
Yeah, that's right.
Tomi Panian, I guess.
Yeah.
I did one time. I got banned from a Finnish forum for just writing in Elvish. That happened to me once during my 4chan days.
You see that the Swedish developers of Stellaris added a DLC pack of like horrific bog swamp species, and all of the names are just Finnish.
They're toxic because they won't give Ostrobothnia back. Fucking Swedes. Go produce some more mediocre melodic death metal. You have like 3 bands that are good.
The most Finnish thing that I've ever heard is a Russian acquaintance of mine just asked me to say, yeah, you know how they're like conscripting motherfuckers in Russia right now? They tried that in like Onega in like Eastern Karelia, the bit of like traditionally Finland that was now is Russia. They tried doing that. All of the guys just went in the woods. They're just still there.
Yeah, don't fuck with those guys in the woods.
No, they're just
Yeah, there's some veterans of the Great Patriotic War who are triggered by that talk of a Finn in the woods.
Shoot twice and go home. Yeah. Yes. Next slide. Okay, so everyone has now seen this big red ship with fucking Townsend Thorson painted on it, much like Ever Given. It's been sort of like a more deadly version of that. They've seen it happen. I'm almost fascinated by like branding exercises of disasters, like when a plane crashes and the airline sends someone with a big tarp to cover up the logo. In this case, what they do is they rename Townsend Thorson to P&O ferries, Pacific and Orient.
Peninsular and Orient, but I was going to say how racist the name is, but
yeah.
I thought it was I thought that was a whatchamacallit. I thought it was a different brand that took over. I
think it might have been, but at any rate, they changed the name and they paint them blue.
And Pride of Kent. I don't know how to do a Kent accent, but
there's basically it's mine. There isn't one. Also, I wrote down here. I see a red ship and I want to paint it blue. Pride of Free Enterprise becomes Pride of Kent, becomes Anti-Marina. You can still get it if you want a ferry from Piraeus down to Rhodes.
Also known as the Colossus of Rhodes by ferry heads.
Yeah, and they do an inquest, which is an incredible piece of British sort of legalese. Tom sent us this.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I found some great sentences in here, most notably where they ask the first officer about his sort of role in this, and they described that his evidence thusly: although the totality of the evidence left the court with a sense of unease that the whole truth had not emerged, which is just a perfect sort of like high court way of saying this guy's lying.
Well, and set this to Ashokan Farewell, because it's like, as though the totality of the courts has found an insufficient evidence. Like like we were joking about this before the podcast started, but like, yeah, last time an American talked like that was 1866.
Yeah, it was written by a Nebraska admiral.
Yeah, it
sounds more like a Southern Confederate guy. Let's get real.
Yeah,
well, I mean, the difference between a northern, like the dialect there wasn't too. I mean, Philadelphia was considered a southern city until the Civil War. You know, but yeah, the one that you have like a Her Majesty's printing shop, and that's the one who does government stuff.
Oh, like, HMSO, yeah.
That's like, I like that. That's all cool. Like, that's cool to me. Like, I like that it does that, but like,
and now it's His Majesty's stationery office too, because all the shit's changed. Yeah, so I saw a thing the other day that said, "Oh yeah, you might be able to get like a rebate from His Majesty's Revenue and Customs." And I'm like, "What the fuck is that? They changed this."
It doesn't sound right saying King.
No, it doesn't.
And as I said on 10,000 Losses, I'll say on here, I hope King Charles shares the fate of his first.
Yeah, totally.
His first namesake. And I guess Cromwell did nothing wrong unless you're Irish or
he did a lot of things wrong, but that wasn't one of them. Yeah. So this inquest, in its sort of very loyally fashion, assigns blame for the proximate cause of this is that the big doors at the front of the ship.
Well, I like how 3 times they list it. It says the doors were not closed. No one checked to see if the doors were closed, and you got underway with the doors open. Like it's like a ritual, like legalese to have and to hold, right? Like it's you have to say it 3 times for it to stick.
Yes.
The doors were closed. The doors were open. The doors were not closed. Yeah. The doors. Yeah.
Yeah. The status of the doors. It was pretty open.
Yeah. However you say that in British. Maritime or Admiralty Court legalese.
Admiralty law, truly, yeah.
The status of the doors, as described by the gentleman, was not closed.
I've ascertained by merit of this court with the gold fringe being here within entitles it to Admiralty proceedings. I just want to side here. I do love that our version of the gold fringe on the flag is your version of it's the Magna Carta says right there that I can have a car is untaxed conveyance. I don't need a fucking license plate. Yeah.
Yeah. So mostly this whole inquest sort of tears the whole company a new one on the basis that it's lax. It's culturally lax. There's no sort of set responsibilities. You just like vibe. And you can't be doing that shit because otherwise you'll forget to close the doors and then the doors will be open. And you will leave with the doors open.
Have you people ever heard of closing the goddamn door?
Yes. Yeah.
It's voice of nationality. That's my pop-on voice, yeah.
Yeah. So like you have to systematize this in some way. You have to have like some kind of formal procedure so who knows who's doing what.
You have to have a light.
You have to have a light.
Yes.
It says door not closed.
You have to have a Van de Graaff generator. You have to fucking untrim the head. You have to
refuse some loads.
You have to refuse some loads.
I'm not kink shaming, but sometimes those loads are overfill.
Yeah, absolutely.
The advertisement said no loads refused.
You have to discharge the ballast tanks.
Mm-hmm. You have to not speed, maybe.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I didn't take enough of a look to see what kind of engine. I imagine some sort of diesel, electric, or
yeah.
You don't have to cavitate the propeller as soon as you cross the mole. By putting that shit flank ahead.
3 6,000 kilowatts, 12-cylinder Sulzer medium-speed diesel engines driving variable pitch propellers, apparently. Yeah. We also have here reproduced a set of memoranda.
And you mentioned this earlier. This is about putting the indicator light in. Yeah, so I think you could do the accents probably the best.
From Mr. J.F. Alcindor, who is from fucking is an
Hogwarts.
elf in Lord of the Rings, a deputy chief superintendent. Do they need an indicator to tell them whether the deck storekeeper is awake and sober? My goodness! With 2 exclamation marks. From Mr. A.C. Reynolds, nice, but don't we already pay someone? With an exclamation mark. From Mr. R. Ellison, assume the guy who shuts the doors tells the bridge if there's a problem. By the way, the guy who shuts the doors is asleep until the moment when the ship falls over, where he is thrown out of his bunk. And then from Mr. D.R. Hamilton, nice. Like it's a group chat, you know? Nice. Sort of
this is a memorandum. This is 80. So this is like what? Like notes passed in the office?
Yeah.
So fucking...
I believe after this incident, most ships are now built in such a way that the door opens upwards so that you can see it from the bridge visually.
A visual indicator. Still too cheap to put the light in, but we... Oh, it's like...
What we've got to do is we've got to make the whole front of the superstructure transparent.
Yeah, it's like that game Stormworks. I don't know if either of you have played that.
Oh yeah. I'm no good at it. I'm not smart enough
no one's good at it because
they keep adding new shit. I'll be like, oh, I made a little boat that doesn't sink instantly, and then I'll check the Steam news, and it'll be like, hey, nuclear fusion update.
Hey, Stormworks devs, you Scottish fucks, fucking update your physics sim. All right, there's no reason I have to build a boat as wide as my ass is for it to fucking float without flipping over. But you keep adding sharks and shit. I don't want a fucking shark. I want to build an engine and have it hum and not burn 12 gallons of diesel in 3 seconds. Fix your physics shit. Ban me from your fucking Discord. Do it, you fucking cowards.
A crumb of tutorial.
And how about a tutorial you could skip? And then how about missions that you don't need fucking the Lua to program? Because I'm not learning a programming language. I passed computer science at high school. I know 5 lines of C++. I'm not learning fucking Lua. Fuck that shit.
I fucking taught myself some basic principles of programming in order to make units do stuff in Operation Flashpoint, and that's the most coding I've ever learned for a game.
I've taught myself the logic gates in the game to get to make automatic transmission that doesn't stall in between when you put the clutch on, but they refuse to fix anything that fix your aerodynamics. I can put pontoons on the side of a car, and if I drive fast enough, it flies.
You know what? While we're at it, developers of the New Order, fucking fix the economy and give me more opportunities to use the systems designed into the game instead of just doing a visual novel, and fix the fucking economy and fix the economy.
And Paradox devs, because I know one of you assholes listen to this.
One of you is listening.
If Victoria 3 comes out,
jokes.
If Victoria 3 comes out, and if I'm a socialist or a communist and I can't make fucking social reforms, I'm coming over to Sweden and I'm pissing all over your goddamn weird ass mud speckled goddamn buildings. I don't know what the fuck you made it out of. Stockholm is sinking into the sea, and it deserves it.
You're not in NATO yet. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
You look like a penis. You look like a penis on the euro. And I can't, I go to IKEA and your furniture, it breaks apart and you have weird shit and you think you're special because you have a sound you can't pronounce.
You think it's acceptable to serve me an open-faced sandwich on a bread that tastes like cardboard? Do you think that's normal?
With horse meatballs. I'm calling out the Swedes. You know what? Liam's not here. I'm calling out the fucking Swedes. You've been that Sabaton, Carl the Great. Oh, cool. I have a king. My house of Bernadotte.
Carl the Great, Mia Mulder. Those are the good Swedes. Everything else, dubious.
Yeah.
I hate to do this to you, but I have to go use the restroom really badly.
Oh my God. Okay, fine. You know what other nations are fucked?
As you were.
You know what other video games could use improvement? Fucking all of them. You know what? Like fucking Ready or Not, my fascist cop game could stand with maybe like updating some basic systems like the AI responsiveness instead of doing some more like pass-throughs for a level that you're going to release in a year's time. You know,
real quick, he's like, I don't care so long as I get to go to Swedes. All right, you think you have a sound? Swah, swah,
and the levels,
no
the levels are too sprawling. You know what? They fucking make them smaller. Give me the fucking slice of life SWAT 3 shit. You know?
Yeah, I'm going.
What the fuck is Rødgrød med fleur? Is that a Danish thing? Doesn't matter. Same country. You know what?
Yeah,
same country.
You cannot be pronouncing Swedish phonology. Schwa, there you go. Fucking got it right there. Fucking umlauts. Well, how does that get you? Stealing that from the Germans. You're not German. You never will be.
Yeah, and I tell you what. As a sort of as a region, Scandinavia, your crime fiction is getting kind of samey. I'm kind of done with it by this point. Like self-consciously grim detective and like a folksy sweater, whatever.
Cozy mystery. So my grandma, before she passed away, R.I.P. She loved cozy mysteries where like either a cat solves a crime or there's a recipe at the end.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I think you get to a certain age, you just want to be like comfortable and have it like again sense of place.
Yeah.
So I guess a Swedish sense of place is like what, like voting for a party that's going to apply the welfare state to everyone except for migrants.
But no, the way that Swedes do their mysteries is like a detective who looks like they last slept in like 1986 has to investigate, a prominent politician's children being hacked apart and burned alive. That's the whole sort of Scandi noir thing, you know. They're wearing a sweater that's like 3 different shades of gray in a kind of like folk pattern.
You know what? Why don't you investigate the assassination of Olof Palme? Why don't you do that? Why don't you investigate that? Your cozy mystery it has a meatballless, or not meatballless, a horseless meatball recipe inside.
The thing about Olof Palme is that he wasn't actually assassinated. He was trying to charge his Samsung Galaxy Note.
Wow, this is turning into it. Listen. I shortly after my last appearance on the podcast, I got to Stavros from Cumtown, and then Cumtown ended. Yeah, he's less greasy than you imagine. But
this is also true of us as a podcast.
No muscle whatsoever. Like my legs versus his legs, I gotta say I got some nice calves. He's not. But anyway, I don't know where fuck I'm going with.
He's getting swole now.
Is he?
He's getting swole now. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'm going to pee real fast.
Oh my god. Okay.
And just make everyone mad.
That was some really bad timing. We could have done that at the same time, and yet we did not do that.
Justin, what's your least favorite country?
My least favorite country?
We've been talking about 2 things: the countries that we hate and ways to improve video games that we play despite also hating. So, if you have any tips for the developers of Cities Skylines or the fucking Workers and Resources, now would be the time.
I'll say, if I talk about Cities Skylines, I will reveal too much.
Okay. But if Workers and Resources devs, how do you fix their game? What's wrong with it?
I don't know. So far, everything in there is stuff that I like. There's nothing that's I would have to really think about that one, which would be ways to make the game more difficult.
All of my transport networks just break down instantly. Like, quite literally, whenever I play Workers and Resources, no one wants to work anymore. After about, like, a couple of months, no one wants to get on the beautiful new bus to the beautiful new mine from their beautiful new slums.
Probably because you didn't provide them adequate services.
No, but I do, though. But then they'd still they refuse to go to the mine.
Have you told them to go to the mine?
Why the fuck do I have to tell them to go? That's where the jobs is.
Yeah, you have to tell them to go to the mine.
What? Why?
Because
I hate communism now.
It's a command economy, Alice.
Well, they should be able to intuit my commands and just fucking do them. You know,
that's the issue.
Is there no autonomy in this system?
Now, unfortunately not. You have to have specific apartment blocks that are dedicated to getting on the bus and going to the mine.
What?
Sometimes you can sort of jiggle that up a bit. The apartment block is like, okay, you can go work at the kindergarten, you can go work at the school, but if all those positions are taken, then you have to go work in the mine.
That's there's a whole arena that I haven't been micromanaging. That I okay. I gotta fire up that game right now.
I do feel like there's a way. There's a way.
Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic.
Oh, have you played that game, Russ? Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. Yes, I've been playing quite a lot of it recently. Actually.
I was quite enjoying the New Order mod for Hearts of Iron 4 until they fucking broke it.
Is that the one? After the sequel to the Joy Division mod, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, the New Order, that's the one that's basically a visual novel, right?
Yes, yeah. And I wish it weren't. God damn it! I want them to let me use some of the systems.
Someone on the Reddit on their Reddit posted like Spear Gang and like made a shirt that said Spear Gang.
The Spear hoodie. Yes. Yeah.
Listen, I like my favorite mod for that's Kaiserreich because you could be a communist United States, but like and then I could take tasks to Louisiana and Atlanta like it deserves. But Jesus Christ, does that community have a lot of fucking fascists? Like,
yeah,
I'm not being controversial here in saying that.
No.
But I have one request.
A dear friend of mine was at ParadoxCon, working, I should say, not for fun, and saw a second person in a Speer hoodie get ejected by security for wearing the Speer hoodie. I'm like, good,
because Speer wasn't a good guy. He just rehabilitated himself.
Yes.
That's
part of the point of the text of the thing, is that he is also not a good guy. Gamers can't be trusted with subtext.
Also, his son got to design a whole bunch of like fucking stadiums in Qatar.
Yeah, he did.
For the World Cup.
Were they slave labor stadiums?
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Fuck that shit.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Also, all that shit in Qatar is like half built. It's going to be a fucking disaster.
I do have one request, Roz, though, is a Workers and Resources map that's Philadelphia. But you have to make sure that the Comintern block side is New Jersey.
That makes sense to me. Yeah,
I've tried to make it a couple times, but
my favorite Workers and Resources map is a one that is just like the relief pattern of it is a perfect portrait of Lenin's head.
Jesus. I like the game. I do like the game. I think it's come a long way, and the devs seem pretty cool because they're like,
oh yeah,
they're out on portraying what actually things were, not this like, and then you go online and it's like, oh, when's the Gulag update? When can I reenact Gulag?
It's 1960s. Sort of the variation of that thread that perennially comes up on left Twitter where it's like, what's your job after the revolution? And everyone is like, cop. This is not a madness just confined to me,
Yeah.
I want to be the water guy, the water rescue guy. Can we do that? I want the RNLI, but communist and worldwide.
I would definitely be the coal miner who was forced to become a poet. That's what would happen to me.
Yeah. So like Tom's in the Red National Lifeboat Institution. I'm every cop, and you're fucking writing impressionist poetry and
when I die, you're like the Luke Kelly writing a song about the lifeboat Mona drownings. You're writing about me and how I, tried to rescue sailors and. Just make it a good song.
Guy who is like forced to write poetry instead of mining coal is basically Vladimir Mayakovsky. So there is historical precedent for this.
It's like half of like the Welsh Labour Party in the 50s.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh shit, man! This is a podcast.
Yeah, so we're talking about a boat.
This isn't just hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
Why can't it be both?
People are listening to them.
I mean, that's basically, guys, the secret behind 10,000 Losses is so Liam and I could talk about sports for an hour every week.
Yeah, well, the thing is, right, not only did we record a podcast about the boat, we also fixed every video game.
Yeah, it did.
It's true.
I Stormworks devs, seriously, fix your fucking shit. I'm like, ban me from your Discord. Do it. Cowards.
I think Factorio needs a new update sometime soon.
Eugen systems. I need more single player. The single player is a very compelling idea. I played the single player campaign in Red Dragon many times, despite the fact that it obviously hated me. I will do so again in Warno when you add one, please.
Multiplayer is not a substitute for properly programmed bots.
No, it's not, because the bots don't call me slurs, which I like.
Exactly. Is that with the day collar or the night collar? Oh, fuck.
Okay. Where were we before this interlude?
We had finished.
Ferry. You have a thing telling you the doors are closed or not now. So they have a light.
That's it. We fixed it. They made them put a light in, so this has never happened again. Probably.
Paris, they got Paris that they made the fucking Trojan War fucking real, dude. It's fucking crazy.
Yo, like from Assassin's Creed?
Dude, cause they got this they made the pyramids in real life from Assassin's Creed. Fucking wild.
Speaking of video games, I tell you what, fucking Assassin's Creed has been in its flop era as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the Viking one's so grim.
The best is when they make Mediterranean women that my wife gets mad at me for telling her how nice they make the Mediterranean women.
They did make Mediterranean women. I'm a big fan of that. And then Viking women wasn't the same. Somehow they had the direction Nordic women. They fucked that up somehow. Ridiculous.
Put in the Devin, put in like the handshake meme.
No.
Me and Alice handshaking, and it says Mediterranean women underneath.
Yes, please.
We're putting a lot of work on Devin here. All I want to say is, okay, we did this podcast about this boat. What did we learn?
Don't leave the front of the fucking boat open, because water will get in and sink the boat.
Secure all watertight and weathertight, because the report makes a distinction. Closures on the vessel before leaving your berthing and going underway.
Yeah, and if you're curious, watertight means that it's watertight on both sides. Weathertight, it's only watertight on one side.
Yeah,
and have a clear chain of command. Have a hierarchy.
Clear division of responsibility. Sometimes it is worth it. That the like saluting, officer on deck stuff has its place. It's there for a reason. Sometimes
have a captain, but elect him. He's the guy. He's the smartest guy. He's the guy who's best at organizing. Elect him the captain.
The guy.
For her.
Yeah. So this is. I think what we really learned from this is anarchism doesn't work.
That's right. There's no one to gainsay this.
And Liam's not here, so I think we can agree on that and make that official position of the podcast.
Yeah. There's a reason why they use the metaphor of the ship of state, and it's because anarchism doesn't work on a ship and it doesn't work in real life.
Yeah, it's true.
Can't defend your socialist revolution from the West if you have anarchists. I'm going to get. There are people who I know who listen to this who are anarchists or dear friends of mine are going to be very mad at me.
Yeah, well, put it this way. What are they going to do? Fucking organize some kind of mutual self-defense committee?
I never heard of an anarchist going on the offense. I can tell you that much.
An anarchist self-offense committee.
Yeah, you imagine that. Anarchists claiming territory, not going to happen.
That's never happened. Never happened once. Not in disputed territories today either. And they never had a wagon technical.
Ooh. Well, we have a segment on this podcast called Safety Third.
Shake hands with danger.
Cool Russian gas mask. That's a PMK2, I think.
Oh man, that's the last. That's the last thing you see in fucking. Oh, I can't remember the name of the game, so the joke's ruined.
Stalker?
Yeah, that's the thing.
More
POV,
games.
You're a dirty toilet in Stalker.
So weird transitional sort of form of gas mask.
Hold on a second. I'm getting a phone call from my landlord.
That's from Liam.
Do you want me to be
getting a phone call from an autonomous committee?
Well, Liam is a landlord and a CIA operator.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
as we mentioned several times.
I like that you included operated there. Like he was in Tora Bora in 2003. There's photos of him wearing a pakol. If anyone wants to gin that up in Photoshop, I'd be very happy to see it.
Someone have a photo of Liam wearing 4-inch shorts in Rhodesia. That's a good look. By the way, that is a look I think we should bring back for people.
What, the tiny shorts? For sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, as someone who has nice calves, I gotta say I kind of want to be able to rock that.
Sure. Yeah. It's flattering. I mean, I guess you can like what you could do is you could do the sort of like British Western desert approach where it's like shorts but also knee socks. You know?
Well, I mean, all the best baseball players wear knee socks.
Really?
The coolest and best ones, by my opinion, are the ones that also wear knee socks.
I trust your opinion on this. I know next to nothing about baseball, so
all you know is from what you learned when you were on 10,000 Losses. Go on 10,000 Losses. Please go to our Patreon.
Please do.
Good. We have a great bonus episode out where we're actually serious, talking about the intersectionality of journalism and sports.
Huh. So interesting.
Yeah. Why don't you pop over there?
Yeah, why don't you do that? Check out all of my other podcasts too. You should check out Kill James Bond. You should check out Trash Future.
Absolutely.
Just had Cory Doctorow on with Rebecca Giblin to talk about their new book. It's about copyright. So if you want to find out why copyright's bad, you should listen to that.
Is copyright more like copy wrong, innit?
Damn, that says a lot about society. Yeah. I think they should have like a copy left, actually.
Oh shit, that'd be wild if that was a thing.
Yeah, you could have a logo with like the C faces the other direction, maybe.
Well, it depends if you're an anarchist or a communist. So like, it depends. Like if there's like two splits of it, so you have like the hammer and sickle in one, or if it's red or black. Yeah. Anti-copyright action.
It's weird that so many people use the like the iron front logo, the 3 arrows, because people don't get that those were like armed social democrats, which is a very funny idea now.
Yeah. And look, I'm someone who like having organized in the left and now wants nothing to do with organizing the left.
Perfectly reasonable. Happens to anyone.
Yeah, I get like when someone's like got that logo because I understand where they're coming from and it makes sense. Like sure. A lot of those people are allied and they just don't understand. But goddamn, would the world have been a different place if Rosa wasn't shot and thrown into a ditch?
Yeah.
That's my like that. Like you want to do all history? Fuck Confederates winning the Civil War. That would never happen. Fuck the Germans winning World War II.
Spartacists winning the German Civil War. Yeah.
You don't have any of the fucking shit in the Soviet Union.
I've said this a million times, but like if you had said to like any educated European that like okay, there's 2 countries in Europe. One of them is gonna become the like hotbed of a new kind of like industrialist right wing ethnically determinative fascism, and the other one's going to become the hotbed of socialism and communism and world revolution. 100% of them would have said Germany and Russia in the wrong order. Yeah. Like that truly is the bad timeline, is because fucking Marx and everyone 100% expected like, oh, the engine of the revolution, the place where the like industrial contradictions are most heightened, that's Germany. Of course it is.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can apply it to sort of like outlying peasantry like Russia.
Periphery,
yeah.
It's imagine like if Rosa, like Germany, you have a German Russia, I guess a Deutsche Russo, how the fuck you say it, alliance, like left wing alliance. You have all those Germans in the United States who had just fought the Civil War, and you had like fucking socialists running Milwaukee and all that kind of shit.
I've been reading. I just finished reading Antonio Scarati's M, Son of the Century, which is a book about Mussolini, which is in large part a book about how the Italian left absolutely squandered every sequential opportunity they had over the 1920s. And some of them became fascists, as Niccolo Bombacci, the guy who was called the Lenin of the Romagna, Christ of the workers. He became a fascist.
Even Mussolini was a
he was. Person. Yeah. He was an interventionist leftist, and the war split them down the middle. But 100%. Like so many times they're like, oh, we have a general strike, and then we call off the general strike. There's so many occasions where the people sort of come to these their elected socialist or communist representatives begging them to say the word revolution, and every time they're like, well, the revolution's more of a metaphor, or it'll come at some indeterminate time, so you have to be ready for it, but not now.
It's like the second coming of Christ. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be at some point.
No man knoweth of the hour.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Mussolini and the fucking squadristi are like going around clubbing people's heads open and stuff.
Oh, mamma mia, Papa Emanuele, questo socialisti, questi socialisti, molto. What's scary? I don't know what's scary in Italian.
Fuck, I don't know either.
Shit. See, this is my problem with it. I know the grammar.
We're gonna fuck, dude. We're gonna lose out on the Mediterranean women at this rate.
Oh,
we gotta,
my God.
I gotta study.
Molto alla mar. I can't do the R. Alamanti.
No, fuck. Shit.
Alamanti. And I don't know my basic tenses outside of like past, present, and future. You know.
God. Yeah.
Taking it over to the government.
I
don't understand, Emanuele. They're coming. They're going to take the pizza. They're going to take the pizza, and they're going to make it a pizza. They're going to change the gender on all the food.
There is literally one Italian, I think it might even have been like Corriere della Sera, which describes the revolution as typically Italian, a plate of spaghetti. It's like perfect.
Oh.
Like all of these guys, because Italian liberals are like any liberal in any country is like, guys, you're embarrassing me in front of the Europeans. So like every liberal is like, my people are peasants. I hate them. They don't know which fork to eat with. And so every account of like the fascist revolution is, yeah, okay, it was wildly like unconstitutional and everything, but like Italians are a joke anyway, and like nothing ever happens to us or stays happening to us. And this is like the first sort of like brief glimmer of effective government we've ever seen. It's grim. And then at the end of this, the sort of the like real inflection point is Mussolini arranges to have this annoying socialist member of parliament, Giacomo Matteotti, murdered because he's about to expose a corrupt oil deal that he's about to do. And this like revolts the entire country. Like other fascists are ashamed of Mussolini. The like First World War veterans are ashamed of the fascists. All of this. And he goes in front of Parliament and he says, yeah, it was all me. If fascism is a criminal gang, I'm the leader of it, and I'm responsible for like every criminal act that's ever happened under fascism. Go ahead and hang me if anyone wants to, and no one fucking does. Everyone blinks. And yeah, no, I don't know. Fucking weird times, weird moments. Did you get evicted?
No, I did not get evicted, but I did get a concerned call about apparently the landlord's been having a bunch of trouble with the water bill being really high in a bunch of buildings.
And is it because you're using it to cool that like nuclear reactor that you have?
Well, that's the PC that Liam built for you that you run Factorio on is directly piped.
Yeah, the once through water cooling system. Yeah,
it's the most efficient way of doing it.
I fill my bathtub with it after it's gone through my super cool crypto mining rig. I like that. By the way, I was listening to the last episode. I like that the crypto mining rig has become not a piece of 10KL lore, but is now just Alice teasing Liam with it.
Yeah, fully.
I gotta say, speaking about Italy, one more thing. I fortini mi parlano di cose belle da fare quest'inverno. I'm going to Italy. I'm going to Italy in around Christmas. So if you're from Florence, I can actually understand your Italian too.
Wow.
Except when you do that weird thing where you say "caffatani" instead of "capitani." Yeah, tell me cool things to do in Florence. I've been to Florence before. I've eaten at the Pasta Nazi. I've been to Uffizi. Yeah, shouts out to Pasta Nazi. It's actually really cool because I made fun of Americans to him, and he loved me. And his mom, I said how nice the food was, and she was like, "Oh, Italians." Yeah, so feel free to reach out to me to Hick and T-Pain on Twitter and tell me what cool shit I should do this winter in your beautiful city. Did you play the Safety Third?
Yeah, I did. I did. I can do it again for you.
We've technically been
Shake hands with danger.
We've been in the state of Safety Third here for a second while I had to go figure out if I was responsible for my landlord having an abnormally high water bill.
Yeah, the Safety Third light has been on for some time.
Exactly.
Yeah, the indicator.
Yeah.
Hello, unknown number of podcast hosts.
Usual number, different dispersion.
Next man up.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Today, I'd like to recount an incident that occurred sometime in mid-2020 at my current place of employment. a fast casual small restaurant chain famous for its oversized sandwiches that we call grinders.
Hold on.
That's a toasted submarine sandwich for those who don't understand
a toasted hoagie is a grinder.
Quiznos.
Yes,
it's Quiznos.
Yes, it's probably Quiznos. Yeah.
Okay.
But don't hold us to that. For a bit of background, our restaurant is located downhill from a strip mall and has terrible drainage. If it rains a whole bunch, our drain can get backed up and we can have localized flooding in parts of the restaurant.
I feel like you can't have flooding in parts of the restaurant, because if I go in to order a sandwich and part of the restaurant is flooded, I'm like, the restaurant is flooded. You know?
Yeah.
Are you following me here? You can't fucking cofferdam that shit off and be like, yeah, we're still doing the sandwich.
You walk in, the sandbags are keeping the dining room from being flooded.
Meanwhile, the line cooks are all wading through like knee-high water.
Oh, we got to. If the water gets above this line, we have to abandon the grinders.
Yeah, it's like a Waffle House situation. Additionally, we tend to have many toilet stoppages due to the aforementioned drainage issues and customers abusing toilets. My boss tries her best to fix these problems when they come up, but sometimes she has to call a specialist to deal with it.
Runs that Quiznos like the Navy, etc.
Yes.
Yeah. I at one point in my life when I was in grad school, I cleaned toilets because I was the lowest man on the totem pole at a factory I worked at, and they didn't hire a janitor, so I empathize there.
On one such occasion, the men's restroom was so backed up. How backed up was it?
How high was the poop? Basically, is what we're saying. It was over the lip. Or was it?
It was so backed up, we had it closed for most of my shift while a two-man team of plumbers were working in and out of the restaurant.
Italian guys. One of them had a red jumpsuit, the other one had a green one.
If the man in front of you drops his plunger, pick it up and move forward.
Several hours later, they had left and I really needed to pee. And after double checking with my manager that everything was good, I excused myself to the restroom.
You don't have to excuse yourself if a boss cannot stop you from taking a bathroom break. That's law in every state.
That's true. Upon entering, I noticed a somewhat strong smell of bleach and that the floor was wet. And I made a reasonable assumption that the floor was freshly mopped, since we mixed bleach into our mop water. I hate the smell, but it's the boss's policy. Then I used the urinal. Immediately after my pee hit the water, it began to fizz and my eyes started to sting.
Oh no.
Exit
situation.
Oh no. It's not Pop Rocks in there. That's not how that's supposed to work.
The water wasn't water. It was bleach. I stuffed myself back in my pants and fled the bathroom, making sure to turn on the overhead fan as I left. In order to explain what just...
I'm reenacting the Western Front, my fucking toilet work.
In order to explain what just occurred to you, the viewer, and to my manager, we must first have a very short chemistry lesson. There's ammonia in the piss, and there's bleach in the bleach. And if you mix the two together, you get chlorine gas. Or chloramine gas.
This plus the gas mask here is reminding me very strongly of the guy on 4chan who decided to test his new gas mask by making up a batch of chlorine gas in his bathroom. And the thing about chlorine gas is that, it's very bad to breathe in. It's very bad to be around generally. And he posts a picture a couple of minutes after that's like, hey guys, I think all the skin on my arm is coming off. Is that supposed to... What's up with that?
The chloramines, by the way, if you don't treat your water when you're home brewing, if you don't remove the chlorine, the interaction between the grain and the fucking chlorine creates chloramines, which taste like Band-Aids. So if you're ever taking a leak and you smell Band-Aids, bounce the fuck out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Both of these gases will kill you if you breathe too much of it. Having explained that to the manager and then demanded to know who had filled the urinal with bleach without telling anyone about it, and she didn't know. None of my coworkers knew, and we were left to assume that one of the plumbers had decided it was the best course of action to drain the urinal of water and fill it with bleach and not tell anyone. Thankfully, I got out unharmed. Just a bit of eye discomfort from the stinging and several days of anxiety, wondering if I had inhaled any chlorine.
Oh,
it's cool that we use bleach to like clean the stuff that we piss into as a species.
So it's like the most dangerous chemical we have in our house, I would assume.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Like that shit. I mean, you know what? No, I'll play last. Keeping with the nautical theme, drain cleaner.
Yeah,
that will melt your insides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotta just replace everything with Simple Green. You know.
You gotta use one of those like bio-friendly ones that just don't work.
Yeah, like the crystal fucking deodorant.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, Simple Green works.
Oh no, I know Simple Green works. Yeah. I have experience with Simple Green. I have experience rolling the 55-gallon drums off the truck and onto the forklift.
Simple Green.
This way horizontally.
Yeah.
And then rolling it back off.
Microparticulate fractionalization cleaner.
Yes.
Received critical attention from environmental safety activists because of the toxicity concerns of its 4% 2-butoxyethanol content.
Yeah, but it works.
It does work.
Cool.
Yeah, it works pretty good. I'm gonna have to go clean my bathroom with it right now. Actually,
the factory I worked in used trichloroethylene to degrease the parts after they were milled, and then cleaned everything else with Simple Green. And I remember one time, like, I guess the EPA came out and drilled a bore into the fucking concrete pad. The place was built in like 7 different spots. I guess they were trying to see if it was, because they were dumping that shit down the drain. They did not fucking properly clean that shit at all. So yeah, fuck those guys.
Wild.
Yeah.
Take this as a PSA about cleaning safety in the workplace or your home, and have a good one.
Thanks.
Yeah, don't mix chemicals randomly like I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, don't make some super death cleaner.
Yeah, don't make chlorine gas. Don't make what's the other one it's easy to make?
I think phosgene maybe something absurdly deadly like that.
Probably phosgene, yeah.
Yeah.
Mustard gas.
There's a lot of like remarkably simple organic chemistry that you can do that will just fucking kill you.
Organic chemistry, it's hard to understand and it'll kill you. They don't fuck around.
What's so hard about it? It's just a bunch of hydrogens and carbons. Come on.
What's a few hydrogens and carbons among friends?
Yes.
That's right.
Well, that was Safety Third.
Shake hands with danger.
Our next episode is on the Boston molasses disaster.
Yeah, good news. Due to capacity, we are looking very strongly at doing a second live show.
Yes.
December 8th.
December 8th. We mentioned one at December 7th
after
previously.
The day that will live in infamy.
Yes. A day that lives the day after infamy, December 8th. Same place, tickets on sale at some point in the future. We'll do another update.
Get me those
by the way, if you didn't know, we are doing a live show at Underground Arts in Philadelphia on December 7th, but the first show is sold out, which is why we're advertising the second show right now.
Yeah, it's sold out, as I'm acutely aware. Some of us have jobs and can't see the announcement.
Okay, well, have you considered that you may be a privileged individual who just gets to come in?
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. I don't presume anything because
I've now done enough live shows
Liam's friend
for enough different podcasts that I've worked out that nowhere in the world has a door policy, and no one in the world actually cares about who comes in, and you can just get in anywhere by like just pointing and mumbling.
So I guess I'll show up to both, and they'll just say I'm Tom Payne, even though that's not what my ID says. It says something else on it.
Just say I'm Tom Payne. This is my fake ID.
Yeah, and I'm here to keep certain individuals away from the stage.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd probably be a good idea.
I will. If I'm there and you fuck with, I will play a bouncer. Like the Wawa has a bouncer.
Yeah.
Wawa security. God, that'd be a really good shirt.
That would be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a congressman who's running and he just got like yelled at by Wawa for using the geese logo in his campaign. So
legally not Wawa. Fucking tier 1 Meal Team 6. They have to have like a special forces, a special operations unit at the Wawa now, and you can buy that cred for yourself with a t-shirt, maybe.
Absolutely. Maybe.
Don't look into this too closely. Liam does all of the everything.
Yes. Tom, if they want more Tom, where can they go to get more Tom? Tom.
You can go to you can buy a TomTom.
Right.
Which reminds me of the time that I had a guy approach me at a Wawa parking lot, the one on Aramingo, and the guy came up to me and said, "Oh, yo, big guy, you need a sat nav?" So I didn't need a sat nav because it was like 5 years ago, and I have one on my phone. But yeah, go to 10,000 Losses. Listen to that podcast. It's Liam and I. We do sports and sports related bullshit. Some people have said that they use it as something to keep up on sports with their friends, or it's really just a giant audio shit post that happens to have sports in it. So we got that. Alice has been on.
Good time.
Roz, you will be on.
I'm supposed to be on, at some point. Talking about how can we make baseball shitty again?
Yeah, and Liam and I have been talking about various ways in which we secure your presence. So, knots, cages.
You could probably just pick a time, and then I'll be there for that time.
Oh yeah,
we could go the day caller route.
Yeah, we can. Oh Jesus, that explains where all the water's going. Yeah, 10,000 Losses. I'm at Tohick and T-Pain on Twitter. I'm just a random asshole, but yeah, go listen.
Go listen to 10,000 Losses. If you want to get more time, you can also get into distress in one of your nation's bodies of water, and there's some percentage chance.
Yeah, if you are drowning on the Delaware River from the months of May through October, although not October anymore, through September, I will rescue you and then laugh at you at the same time, because you would have done something stupid to need me to rescue you.
Nice.
Yeah, you'll be alive, but I will make fun of you.
Mm-hmm. That's a podcast.
That's a podcast.
That's a podcast.
2.5 fucking hours.
Yeah, so it's always like this when you come on, because you're like too fucking funny is the thing.